Welcome to Sunday Night with Old Time Radio, 12 May 2024. We open tonight with the Challenge of the Yukon, and then move on to Mr. District Attorney. We introduce the series, The Marriage. This tells how they met. Then we go to Mail Call. You Bet Your Life. The secret word is, well, I'll let you listen. We have a short episode of Frankenstein. This is episode 3. We move to the Inner Sanctum, Death for Sale, and then close with Dam Busters. Let's get started.
The Challenge of the Yukon. King, the swiftest, strongest of Eskimo lead dogs, blazes the trail through storm and snow for Sergeant Preston as he meets the Challenge of the Yukon. Sergeant Preston was typical of the small band of Northwest Mounted Police who preserved law and order in the Yukon during the gold rush of '98. That was the year that brought over 50,000 men swarming into the Klondike region, and the greed for gold led to frequent violence and bloodshed. But in spite of the odds against them, the force preserved a splendid record in maintaining the right. The challenge of the North was answered, and justice ruled triumphant. The cold bit into Sergeant Preston and the great dog King as they broke a trail through the icy stillness of the Yukon. The 50 below zero temperature was bone-chilling in spite of heavy clothing. Even his parka did not protect the Mountie from the painful, jagging stabs of a merciless wind.
Thank heaven we'll soon be at Duke Wells' cabin, King. Just over the ridge. On, King! On, you huskies! We'll soon be warm and... Oh, that's strange. Ho, King! Ho, you huskies! Ho! No smoke coming from that chimney. There must be someone there. Tracks are all around the cabin. Duke wouldn't be without a fire in this weather. If it weren't for these tracks here, I'd think Duke had left Sutter's Creek. Looking this way. There's something wrong in there. Come on, King. Yes, King. Must have been some fight. Chairs overturned, table broken. Duke! Oh, Duke! The fire's died out. What is it, King? Yes, King. He's dead. And it looks like he fought hard. But who? And why? His cash box. So it was robbery as well as murder. And not a thing to... Those tracks outside the cabin. And now these tracks here leading to the cabin. But there are two sets of them. Oh, I see. These are the footprints of the murderer as he came to the cabin and when he left. And these over here, these are Duke's prints. So he was killed after it stopped snowing. King, get the dogs up. So that's why there was no smoke coming from the chimney. We have a murderer to track. And only some footprints in the snow for a clue. On, King! On, you huskies!
Sergeant Preston drove his team on and on as he followed the killer's tracks from Duke's cabin. Sharp and clear, they led through the snow.
On, King! On, you huskies! Right into Deadwood City, huh? Well, we might be lucky, King. This kind of weather, there won't be too many other tracks. We'll be able to follow the... Ho, King! Ho, you huskies! Ho! Let's see. There are other tracks. Plenty of them. Well, it won't be as easy as I thought. All right, King. You lead from here on. On, King! On, you huskies!
There were other tracks cut in the snow as the Mountie drove his team into Deadwood City. But King, running ahead, followed the trail till he stopped at last outside the Idle Hour Cafe.
Ho, you huskies! Ho! So this is it, huh, boy? And the murderer came here after killing Duke.
Sergeant Preston.
Hello there, Will. How are you?
Fine. Say, you ain't been traveling far in this weather, have you?
Sutter's Creek.
Seems to me you'd be better off making your living panning gold. At least you don't have to be out when the old thermometer drops down to below zero.
Well, the law never rests, you know.
You never rest anyways. It's a good thing, too. See that fella drinking down there at the end of the bar?
Yes, Smith. Bart Smith.
Yep. I recognized him as soon as he stepped in here. I got a circler in my pocket here. It's somewheres here, darn it. You see? Picture and everything.
I think I begin to understand. Smith and Duke Wells used to work together back in the States.
That's a fact. Of course, it ain't generally known that Duke ever crossed the law, but we get all kinds in the Yukon.
Wells had been pretty straight lately. Settled down a lot. I guess he didn't want to get mixed up with Smith again.
If he's smart, he'll stay away from that varmint. You can tell to look at him. He's rotten all the way through.
Yes, that would be the motive then. When he saw the cash box, he couldn't pass up a chance for loot.
What you talking about? Cash box loot. What are you aiming at, Sergeant?
How long has he been here, Will?
Blew in about an hour ago with the roughest gang I ever saw.
An hour ago, huh?
Yep. Say, what'll you have? It's on the house, you know.
Oh, thanks. I'll have...
Oh, never mind. Don't tell me. I'll get you a glass of milk.
How's business?
Oh, just coming right along. This kind of weather's mighty helpful. Fellas like to come in and swap yarns over some drinks. But all they can do when the ground's froze solid.
Yes. Looks as if all Deadwood City's in the idle hour.
Don't hurt my feelings none, long as they pay in gold. Say, Sergeant, what's eating you? Face is a mile long.
I told you I'd just come in from Sutter's Creek.
Yeah? Ain't nobody much up there.
I stopped at Duke Wells' cabin. He's dead, Will.
Dead?
Murdered. King and I trailed the killer here.
Well, I'll be. You think Smith had...
I don't know. Who was the last man in here before I came?
That's a kind of a hard one to answer. I didn't notice so I could swear to anything. Seems to me old Harry Barber was the last one in. That was about 10 or 15 minutes ago. But like I say, I couldn't swear to it.
Smith or one of his men
Could it prove anything?
No, the only thing I can do is compare his footprints with the prints I found outside Duke's cabin.
You can't do that now.
Why?
Well, take a look outside. Must have got it mighty warmer.
Snow.
Yeah. Looks like a blizzard to me. Sergeant, I ain't the one to meddle with the law,
But what, Will?
you won't be able to pin anything on him. That gang of his that swear to an alibi, and you know it.
Where are they?
In the back room playing poker.
Well, maybe Bart Smith didn't do it. Any one of his men could have done it for him.
Looks like you got a real problem on your hands. Oh, excuse me a minute, will you?
Oh, sure, Will.
Another drink here, Will.
What do you have, Dan?
Oh, the shame. Fill her up. Well, hi there, Sergeant Preston.
Hello, Dan.
Mighty cool out, ain't it? Darned if I don't wish I was down in the tropics somewhere.
As long as you can find gold up here, you'll never leave it for the tropics or any other place. You know it.
Yeah, I reckon you're right, Will. Gets in a man's blood. Well, better get back to the game.
Winning or losing?
Breaking even, worse luck. See you later, Sergeant.
Yeah, nice fella, Dan.
How long's he been in the cafe?
Oh, now, you don't think Dan...
Don't jump to conclusions. I'm only checking a few points, that's all.
You'll be asking me next what time I got here. Well, but what are you going to do about this?
Well,
Some of the boys are leaving now that the snow started. If you're going to do anything, you better...
waiting till a few more of the boys leave. Then I have a little plan.
Sergeant Preston, with the faithful King at his side, waited till most of the crowd left the cafe. Soon there were but a handful of men gathered around the pot-bellied stove at the far end of the room, and a scattered few were still at the bar.
What's that Mountie doing here, Bud?
I don't know. Been in here now for an hour. Just stands there drinking milk and looking around.
Know who he is?
Yeah, Mounty's a Mountie to me.
Not this one. That's Sergeant Preston.
Preston?
Yeah. If Preston's after you, you might as well throw up your hand. It's the end of the trail.
Not for me, it ain't.
Want me to call out the rest of the boys?
No. We'll call them if I need an alibi.
There ain't no way he'd know you and Wells.
Shut up, will you? Why don't you go out front and beller so the whole town can hear you?
Oh, now, Bud, I didn't mean nothing.
Guess I'm just uneasy. I didn't plan to let Duke have it.
He wouldn't split the claim, huh?
Split it. He didn't want to have anything to do with us. Said he was going straight.
Boy, he sure changed.
Hey, Sergeant Preston, you've been standing around looking at us for a long time.
Yeah, what are you looking for, Mountie?
Let's get out of here.
No. We'll stay here till the Mountie leaves.
Yes, you're right, Tom. I am looking for something.
Why in tarnation didn't you say so in the first place? What you got on your mind?
I left Sutter's Creek about an hour ago. When I was up there, I stopped in to see Duke Wells.
Yeah?
I found Duke dead.
Dead?
Yes, murdered. He'd been fighting with the man who killed him. The fight must have started when the killer pulled a gun on him.
Got any idea who done it, Sergeant?
When two men are fighting, it's almost impossible not to find a piece of clothing torn from a coat, a few hairs, or a button. Little things like that are what most killers leave at the crime if there's been a struggle.
So that's what you're looking for, huh? Pretty smart.
Well, looks like we better line up here so you can look us over. Ain't nothing tore off my coat.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Can't say as I know anyone that have any reason to kill Duke. He's a peaceful enough critter.
He sure was. Never bothered anyone.
Mountie, I guess this leaves me out. I'm a stranger here in Deadwood City, so I'll just leave while you go on with your investigation.
Quiet, boy. You say you're a stranger?
Yeah. Bart Smith's the name. Just came in from Circle City with Slim here.
Well, it's just a formality. I want to see the coat on every man in the cafe.
That means me too, I guess.
Yes, you too will.
Don't have any buttons off my coat.
Well, let's see. All right, Tom. Now, let's see, Dan. Mm-hmm.
No, you don't, Mountie.
Hey, put down that gun.
I'll put it down when I'm ready. Now you get in line. Go on, over there.
Listen straight.
You're listening to me. Reach. All of you. Higher.
You won't get away with this.
You let me worry that out.
He must be the one that killed...
Yeah, I am. I'll kill any one of you that steps through the door of this cafe.
Means business, fellas.
You yellow pool cat.
Shut up, Dan. He's already killed Duke Wells, ain't he?
I'm leaving here now, see? Come on, Slim. And remember, I'll shoot anyone that steps out of this door.
You'll never get through that door, Smith. Adam King, get him!
Oh, I'll take care of him. Oh, come on.
All right, Bart, get up.
Oh, my hand, that mutt.
Yeah, nice work, King, old fella.
You're pretty handy with your fists, Will.
I used to be a prize fighter in my younger days. And boy, how I'd like a chance at that no good rat. Hey, Sergeant.
No, he's under arrest, Will. He deserves a beating, but you'll have to settle for a hanging.
Hey, wait a minute. He don't have any buttons off his coat.
Oh, that's right. And I don't see any other clues either.
No, Will, there aren't any. It was his conscience that convicted him.
You see, boys, sometimes a policeman has to play hunches.
Well, I'll be...
Pretty smart, I'd say.
Yes, King, old boy. With your help, another case is closed.
Challenge of the Yukon, a copyrighted feature of the Challenge of the Yukon Incorporated, brought to you every Saturday at this time, originated in the transcription studios of WXYZ Detroit. The characters and events in tonight's drama were fictitious. Bill Morgan speaking. This is the Michigan Radio Network.
Harrington, what time is it?
It's just 10 o'clock, sir. You're due in the grand jury meeting.
Yes, I'll go in just a minute. But close that door, please. Radio friends, this is your district attorney speaking. A group of racketeers has moved into the city and taken over the restaurant racket. We've been gathering information on them. But every restaurant owner has been so terrified he's been afraid to testify. But now we've got to start. One restaurant owner, Mr. Tony, was broken by the racket and sent to prison by them to keep him from talking. But we finally heard of Tony's plight and went to the prison and got him out. Now he's anxious to help us smash these racketeers. If you'll excuse me, I've got to go into the grand jury, which is meeting in the room right next to my office here. The grand jury is composed of 23 outstanding citizens who meet behind closed doors and hear testimony and decide whether that testimony warrants their issuing an indictment for the arrest of the suspect. What goes on inside the grand jury is strictly private, but I do want you to hear this one. Excuse me while I go in.
Well, I seems very incredible.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Mr. District Attorney, we've just been going over this information you've gathered about the restaurant racketeers. You say here that Mr. Tony is willing to work closely with you.
Mr. Tony will tell me everything he knows.
Well, do you consider his life will be endangered by doing so?
Not at all. And we've sent his family away to a little cottage down south. No one but my immediate staff and myself knows where they are. We even changed Tony's own personal appearance, and I doubt if even his own wife could recognize him now. We've done everything possible to protect Mr. Tony and his family from the racketeers.
Who's that?
The Ohio kid.
Come in. You're late. Hurry up.
I couldn't get here before, Duke. What are you sore about?
Sit down. Want some peanuts?
Ah.
What took you so long?
I had a date with a girlfriend.
You're playing around with that dame too much. Now listen, kid, you got a job to do.
Well, name it.
You know Tony, that restaurant owner we had sent away?
Sure, he's safe. You had him put in solitary so he couldn't talk, didn't you?
Yeah, but he ain't there now.
What do you mean he ain't there now?
Well, he put up some song and dance that he was a murderer. They kept him in solitary, but a member of the prison commission was going through the prison and heard about him yelling that he wanted to see the DA and confess a murder. This guy made the warden tell the DA, and the DA went down to see Tony.
You think Tony sang to the DA?
Well, must have told him everything, or why should the DA remove him from the pen?
The DA's got Tony out?
Yeah, and he's got him hid away. And you gotta find where, kid.
Yeah, but can't you give me a steer at least? There's an awful lot of guys in this world, you know.
That's your job. What do you think I've been paying you for?
For getting guys out of the way, but not finding them in the first place.
You do as I tell you, see?
Okay.
And get him before he spills everything he knows.
All right.
And another thing. That dame of yours. She knows too much.
She's all right.
That's what they all think. I tell you she ain't all right. I'm telling you she'd up and quit you for the first good-looking guy that came along.
What's the matter with my looks?
I'm telling you to watch her. That dame makes any trouble, you're responsible for her, kid. Just remember, if there's any trouble because of her, I'm holding you responsible.
You've got a gripe, Duke.
Now, don't you worry about me. I've seen too many guys get double-crossed by a dame, and then the whole mob suffers with them. I get rid of her, kid.
Maybe. But lay off, Duke. You're just gripey today. She's all right for a while. And I'll get Tony for you.
Well, you get Tony, and I won't say nothing about the dame. Now, go ahead and get Tony. Right now, they're having a grand jury meeting, and I wouldn't be surprised if they was working on some of the stuff Tony has spilled.
Then we would like to have you arrest them immediately, Mr. District Attorney. This grand jury has decided they want you to arrest the men who are going around making collections from these restaurants. You say in your report here that Mr. Tony will be able to point them out to you.
Pardon me, gentlemen, but I believe that would be the wrong approach. The hirelings of a group of racketeers are merely weak characters who do what they're told. They would be harmless if it weren't for the big bosses of a racketeer gang. But if you don't get the big boss, the gang will be operating again within 3 months.
I see. I guess your reasoning is right, Mr. District Attorney.
Yes, I think so.
You can arrest and arrest and arrest the small fry. But you haven't got anything when you get through. Just be patient. Gather the right information. And with one stroke, you can smash the entire setup.
I see. Well, good luck to you. You do just what you think is best.
I'm going out with Tony now to several of the restaurants. He's told me when the collections are usually made. And I hope we'll be able to bump into the collectors. But instead of going out with a warrant for their arrest, we're going out with a camera. Feel nervous at all, Tony?
Oh, no, sir. I'll point out the collectors the minute I see them.
Think you recognize them all right?
Oh, yes, Mr. District Attorney. I paid them enough money.
Just call me D.A., Tony. We know each other pretty well by now.
I wish I'd known you better before I lost my restaurant. I was a fool not to talk.
So this restaurant is Carlos, huh?
Yes, he's a friend of mine. He wanted to hire me when I lost my restaurant, but he was afraid to.
This is close enough. We can
Look.
see it. Where?
Those 2 men going in the restaurant now. They're the collectors.
Shall I snap them, D.A.?
Oh, wait until they get inside the restaurant, Harrington, and then go into action. If you can, get some good pictures of them while the owner is paying them off. And forget you're one of those camera fiends. Just get as many pictures as you can, in or out of focus.
They both carry guns. The heavyset fella hit me over the head with a blackjack one time.
Look through this window, Harrington. There's better light.
The owner is getting an envelope from the cash register. This'll make a corking picture.
Keep snapping, Harrington. Snap all you can.
I've got them square in the lens. I'm taking so many it'll almost be like movies.
Now, let's get back into the car before they come out. Come on. We'll visit a couple of more restaurants with Tony. Now, Tony, you've been talking about one of the racketeers, Lucky Lynch. Do you think that he's the boss, the top man of the racket?
No, D.A. There's another one they call the real boss, but I never heard them mention his name.
I see. Did you ever hear Lynch refer to a boss?
Yes, and I heard the Ohio Kid talk about one, too.
The Ohio Kid, the gunman?
Yes, D.A. The Ohio Kid always came to my restaurant with Lynch before they took it over. They'd come in and force me into a deal, and then those 2 collectors you took the pictures of back there would come in and collect every month.
I see. Tony, do you have any idea where the gang leaders could be found? Perhaps a restaurant that they may have mentioned as a meeting place?
I don't know. Yes. I heard them talk of the Harwich restaurant several times.
The Harwich restaurant. Know where it is?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, you tell Harrington where it is, Tony. I'd like to get a good look at it.
Keep headed just the way you are, Mr. Harrington, and then we'll turn to the right a couple of blocks down.
So this is the... Harwich restaurant, huh? Harrington, get one of our investigators a job in here as a waiter.
Yes, sir. If the racketeers drop in here, we ought to be able to pick up something good.
Tony, take a look into that window and see if you can see any of them in there now.
Oh, they probably ain't going to... Wait. Yes. Sitting at that table near the bar. The man with the blonde girl.
Who are they?
Well, that's the Ohio Kid and his girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
They used to come in my restaurant sometimes. The fellow with the black hair all sleeked down.
D.A., the girl's getting ready to leave. Shall I have her trailed?
No, not yet. It'll be easy enough to pick her up. I want to have a little talk with the Ohio Kid, though.
Oh, don't do it, sir. He'd just as soon kill anybody as not.
You go back to the car, Tony, and drive it up to the next corner and wait for us there. Harrington, the kid's alone now. Let's go in and sit down at the table with him.
Why don't you go with Tony, D.A., and I'll talk with him and join you in a few minutes. You don't want to bother with the likes of him.
I've got a little idea, and I'd like to do it just for the fun of it. And we'll see you later, Tony. Let's go in, Harrington.
Yes, sir.
Hello, kid.
Who are you?
Mind if we sit down?
Go chase yourself. I want to be alone.
We'll sit down anyway. Have a seat, Harrington.
I told you I want to be alone. I don't know you guys. You'll know us soon enough, kid. If you guys are coppers, you're wasting your time, see?
Don't jump to conclusions, kid. Don't you know it's bad luck to drink alone?
Is it? Hey, listen, you. Get out of that chair or I'll blow you out.
He's threatening us, Harrington. He wasn't expected from such a well-dressed gentleman.
That's a nice flower you're wearing, kid.
In about 1 second, you'll get plenty of flowers. What do you want?
Kid, this is Inspector Harrington. I'm the district attorney. Does that mean anything to you?
Not a thing. You got nothing on me.
Of course not, kid. We just saw you here and dropped in to introduce ourselves. What are you drinking?
None of your business.
I'll discount the remark. When you said drink, kid, don't let us stop you.
I'm particular who I drink with.
I said finish that drink.
What's this all about, D.A.?
I said pick up that glass and drink.
Okay. You don't have to get nasty. Now, you satisfied?
That's all, kid. Now beat it.
You can't tell me what to do.
I said beat it. I'll give you just 5 seconds.
Okay. But I'll be seeing you again, D.A.
He never said a truer thing in his life.
For a while, I didn't get what you were up to, D.A.
Oh, so you caught on? Well, the kid didn't. Harrington, wrap the kid's glass in a napkin and put it in your pocket.
I was watching how he held it. There ought to be some good fingerprints on this.
We'll go back and have the prints checked. I have a feeling we'll find the kid has quite a history back of him.
Hello, Mr. Harwich.
Lillian. How about a little kiss?
Came as soon as I could. Told the Ohio kid I had some shopping to do. So I left him at the table, walked around the block, and came in the back door.
I know. I was watching you.
How could you see?
Say, I don't manage this restaurant for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of times I like to sit in my office here and see what's going on with the diners. Now, look. See this piece of frosted glass?
Yeah?
I scraped a little off so I could sit here and see what's going on outside.
And you saw me having dinner with a kid.
Yeah, and I saw plenty of other things, too.
Say, you're pretty smart. That's why I like you so much, Mr. Harwich.
Yeah? Suppose the kid finds out. Our lives wouldn't be worth 2 cents, Lillian.
I can handle him.
Well, perhaps you won't have to much longer. You know what happened after you left that table?
How could I?
2 men came over and sat down with him.
Who were they?
The district attorney and one of his assistants.
Did the kid know who they were?
I think so. They talked a few minutes, then the kid got up and left. But that isn't half of it. After he left, the district attorney and his assistant picked up the glass the kid had been drinking from.
I don't get it. Why did they do that?
Fingerprints.
Oh.
See, they'll check and know who he is quick enough.
I'll go and tell him.
Oh, wait a minute. Remember, your boyfriend and his racketeers have been bleeding this restaurant.
Oh.
And I happen to be a restaurant man.
Yeah, but they're apt to catch him now and send him to the chair.
Suppose they do. He deserves it.
Oh, I can't let him do that.
Now, look, you said you were kind of stuck on me, didn't you?
Oh, I am, Mr. Harwich. Honest, I am.
Well?
Well, what?
Why go and tell the kid about the district attorney getting his fingerprints?
Oh.
You know, if the kid found out you kind of liked me, he'd kill you. Perhaps me, too.
Yeah. And if I didn't say anything...
Well, he may get what's coming to him.
Yeah. Well, okay. You coming up to see me tomorrow?
Well, I don't think I ought to take a chance to go to your place, Lillian. Suppose the kid found out.
Oh, he won't, I promise. Bring up some other girl with you or something.
Well...
We've never had a chance to sit down and talk as 2 human beings. I've just seen you in the restaurant here, and we don't dare go to any place together because the kid might find out and do something.
Well, if you think it's all right, I'll come up.
Please. Come up tomorrow afternoon.
All right, if you say so.
I'll see the kid doesn't know a thing about it. And Mr. Harwich.
Yeah?
I won't say anything about what you just told me.
Thanks, Lillian. I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
There are thousands and thousands of men in this country today who have been crushed by the rackets. There are thousands of homes which have been broken, thousands of men and women who have been killed or injured for life. Organized crime is responsible for more deaths and more money losses than a great war between nations. Each year in this country alone, the crime bill exceeds $15 billion, more than $115 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. The names of all characters in Mr. District Attorney are, for obvious reasons, fictitious. Mr. District Attorney, dramatized by Phillips H. Lord, will be with you again Monday. This is the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, Radio City, New York.
The National Broadcasting Company takes pleasure in presenting a new series starring Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin as Anne and James Wallace in The Marriage. When you look ahead, marriage promises to be a cavalcade of historic events. But when you look back on it, you sometimes find that the apparently uneventful has become the unforgettable. Any way you look at it, marriage remains the most popular domestic arrangement among friendly people. And that brings us to our story of Anne and James.
I don't know about this business of love at first sight. When I was introduced to Anne, I only thought that she was a nice girl with attractive eyes, and I said, "How do you do?" And I looked around the room for something with a little more yumph. I was very young. I left her at her door that night with a feeling of respect for her intelligence, which means, of course, that she'd listened prettily while I went over the fine points in the case of the State of New York versus Hutchins, Hogan, and Prosnick, which I was working on at the time. Very interesting case, too. Well, anyway, I walked to the subway and I forgot all about her. No one was more surprised than I when I called her in the morning and asked her for a date. And on that rainy night 3 weeks later in the hallway of her apartment house, if anybody had told me that I was going to ask her to marry me, well, I would have said he was crazy.
Good night, James.
Good night, Anne.
Good night, James.
Good night, Anne.
Oh, good night, James.
Good night, Anne.
You'd better go now, James. This time you'd really better.
Why? You worried about old what's-her-name, landlady?
Mrs. Grady? Well, she's awake. That's her radio.
Well, what of it?
A girl who lives alone has to be careful of her reputation.
Hee. How's your reputation?
James, stop that. With Mother coming to town tomorrow, I don't want Mrs. Grady giving her a lot of ideas.
Well, she can't do that. That's slander and defamation of character. Oh, I love that perfume. Don't ever use any other kind.
Oh, it's easy for you. You don't live here. I do. And you're not a single girl. I am.
I defy Mrs. Grady. Mrs. Grady, I defy...
James, please.
Sorry.
Let's say goodnight now. I mean, really. I'm so wet.
Look, come on. Stand over here. There. Now. Comfortable? Oh, how I hate apartment houses. When we get married, let's get a house. I don't care how small or how far away.
I beg your pardon?
What?
What did you just say?
Hate apartments like houses?
You mentioned marriage.
Oh, of course, married first. You can't just ignore convention.
James, dear, a girl likes to be asked.
Oh, but I took it for granted that you...
Well, that's just it.
Oh, well, then I better ask you.
That would be nice.
I don't think I'm going to be very good at this.
Try.
Well, here goes. Dear Anne, caught as I am between Mrs. Grady inside and the rain outside. No, forget about that. That's not right.
Well, it did sound a little as though you were trapped.
Anne, darling, if this was somewhere where it isn't, if the sun was shining and the birds sang instead of Mrs. Grady's radio, and I had my arm around you and we were alone, I'd kiss you and then I'd kiss you again. I'd tell you that I loved the color of your hair and the way you laughed and how gentle and wise you are. Does this sound as though I were taking inventory?
Go on.
And then, when I'd found the courage and the right words, I'd just come out and say it.
What would you say?
Anne, please marry me. Well?
You mean it's my turn?
You only have to say yes.
Is that all?
Well, I suppose you could say no. I'd rather you didn't.
Doesn't it matter whether I love you?
Oh, yes, of course. We'd better establish that first, because...
James, Will you kiss me?
Well, don't be silly.
And now, good night, darling. Oh, I hope I have my key.
But you can't do that.
Can't a girl sleep on it? It's very late, and besides, I have to meet Mother early in the morning.
Anne, now I asked you. You have to answer. You can't just turn me off like a faucet. I've got to know where I stand.
In a puddle, darling.
Oh, no. You know what I mean.
James, Mother arrives tomorrow. I want you to meet her.
Yeah, but I'm proposing to you.
It's going to seem a little strange to her, my knowing you such a short time, and, well, she never approved of my coming to New York to begin with. And if Father had been alive, he would have forbidden it.
Why?
Well, after all, in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, New York is considered rather a dangerous place to send one's daughter all by herself, especially to study art. Mother's hardly reconciled to that, and now...
And if she doesn't like me, would that make a difference to you?
Of course it wouldn't make any difference to me.
Thank you, darling. Of course, it is possible that she could resist me.
Why do you insist that Mama will dislike you?
Well, it's just the circumstances. You pointed them out yourself. You know what I mean.
Are you sure there isn't something sinister about you that an inexperienced girl wouldn't notice, but that her mother would?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, middle-aged ladies usually like me very much.
Oh, don't brag.
Not bragging. I only try to reassure you. Anne, dear, I want to marry you more than anything else in the world. Now, do you or do you not feel the same way about me?
Must I answer yes or no, Counselor?
No, of course not.
Dear James. Dear impulsive man. I don't know you at all, really.
But you will.
No, don't interrupt. I don't know you at all. But even now, here in this shabby hallway with Mrs. Grady listening and the rain running off my collar and down my neck, I think I love you very, very much. Will that do?
Yes, Anne. Yes, that's terribly nice to know. I may burst with happiness.
I don't know what it was. This talk of marriage 3 weeks after meeting James was something I didn't expect. And yet, looking back, I think I had a feeling about him the moment we met at the party. James pretended to be so sophisticated and devil-may-care. Well, I just wanted to mother him. I don't know exactly when I stopped feeling simply maternal and got a younger feeling, when I started loving him. Well, I met the train from Fitchburg and told Mother I was thinking of marrying James. Oh, dear. Her face got set the way it had when I told her I was going to New York. Poor Mama. I knew that she was going to be hard on James. Even so, I couldn't wait to exhibit him. My James. But as that wouldn't be possible until the evening, I introduced her to my next most prized possession, my apartment.
Doesn't this wallpaper make you terribly depressed? I'd have the blues from morning till night.
No, I've been very happy with this wallpaper. I've been happy with everything for 3 weeks.
Yes, I know.
You're going to love him, Mama. I can't wait until tonight. Oh, look at the time. I'd better put these dishes away.
I just can't help wishing he was something besides a lawyer.
What's wrong with lawyers?
Well, lawyers always smoke cigars and wear dark gray suits.
James smokes a pipe, and I've never seen him in a dark gray suit.
Can't be much of a lawyer. And even if he is, they don't make good husbands.
Now, Mama, is that a fair thing to say?
Well, you can't tell me that a man can spend a day fooling around with loopholes and tricky language and then come home and give his wife a straight answer.
No. Oh, Mama.
You'll ask him why he's late for dinner, and he'll wherefore and whereas you till he's blue in the face.
Mama, stop it. You haven't even met him yet.
And I'd like to hear what your father would have said about your marrying a strange lawyer whom you've known for only 3 weeks, who claims to have a family up in Canada that nobody's ever seen.
Mother, you're being ridiculous.
Ridiculous, am I? You're ready to give away your life to a man you've known only 3 weeks. 21 days.
Well, it is an awfully short time, I admit.
For all you know, he may have a wife and children somewhere. All right, go on, laugh at me. But learning to live with another person is the most difficult thing in the world. Even with a man you've known for years, let alone 3 weeks.
I know, Mama.
Your father was a wonderful man in all the big ways, but there were little things about him that nearly drove me out of my mind. Just little things, but I had to live with them.
For instance?
Well, Oh, it sounds silly, but he used to put ketchup on his eggs. I never told him, but if there's anything that takes away my appetite, it's eggs with ketchup on them. It happened every morning of my married life. And I could never eat breakfast until lunchtime, and it wasn't funny.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mama.
It's things like that make marriage unbearable when you find them out too late.
Well, it didn't make your marriage unbearable, did it? You always said Father was a devoted husband.
Yes, but I might have found a devoted husband who wasn't devoted to ketchup on his eggs.
But, Mama...
Oh, this man might have habits that would make you miserable. You'll be married a long time, dear. And a long time with the wrong man is... Well, it's a long time.
Yes, it is. Mama, I'm going to be sensible about it. Yes, I'm going to find out a lot more about James. You know something, Mama?
What, dear?
I must have been more worried about this than I thought, because suddenly I feel relieved.
When I left Anne that night after proposing, I couldn't wait to get home and tell Tony. I was walking on air. Well, for 2 blocks, anyway. Then the elation suddenly evaporated in the cold night air, and the events of the hallway became unreal, and I was alone with the disconcerting fact that I'd asked a girl to be my wife. I got butterflies in the stomach, big apprehensive ones with wildly flapping wings. Why hadn't I kept my big mouth shut? At least until I considered the consequences. I was scared stiff. I crept into bed, trying not to wake Tony, but, well, sleep was impossible. Oh. Take it in the first place. As some men just have to face it. 3 o'clock.
What did you say?
Oh, you awake, Tony?
Awake? You know, Junior, when I agreed to share this one-room paradise with you, I didn't bargain for your nightmare. It's eating you anyway.
Tony, I feel terrible.
Hey, wait, I'll turn on the light. Why don't you take a bicarb or a couple of aspirins?
Oh, wish it were that easy. Tony, this is serious. I asked Anne to marry me.
And then what'd she say?
I don't want to get married. I'm not ready.
Easy, Junior. We all have to go sometime.
What got into me? Why did I ask her? I can't get married now and take on all that responsibility. I must have been out of my...
Now, let's not get excited.
How am I going to get out of it? It'll break her heart.
Then I take it she said yes.
No, not yet. I'm sure she's going to. And then what am I going to do?
Marry her.
What? You're the guy who always said that when a man becomes a husband, he stops being an individual.
Oh, I say a lot of things. I'm very clever.
You remember that night on the subway when you picked out the married men by the way they looked? Depressed, harried, shabby.
Yeah. We were real wise guys, weren't we?
Tony, you're not helping me. I thought I could count on you, but...
Sure. I said, and I still say, if a man marries the wrong girl, it's the end of him as an individual. Okay.
That's what I said you said.
But if he marries the right girl, it may be just the beginning. Sometimes it works out. Some of my best friends are married. My mother and father, for instance. And didn't you tell me your parents were happy?
Yes, but my father was the type who needs to get married to be happy.
What type are you, Junior?
Tony, I'm not what I seem. You know, conventional, conscientious, disciplined. Underneath, in me, anyway, there's a streak of primitive wildness.
Oh, no.
Tony, this is very serious. Honestly, I don't think I'm the type to be satisfied with a domestic life.
Why not? Even Tarzan had a mate.
Oh, stop kidding me, will you? I'm sorry I ever started this.
Don't be sorry. Maybe you're right. Could be you're a born bachelor, and that's it.
Then I'm back where I started. And what am I going to do about Anne? I kill her when I tell her I've changed my mind.
I don't think it will.
Tony, she's crazy about me.
Maybe. But she's a good-looking girl. She won't be heartbroken for long.
Oh, Anne's not a coquette, Tony. When that girl gives her heart, she gives it for keeps.
Maybe, but don't worry about it. One of those handsome models she meets in art school might find a way to make her forget.
Oh, no, not Anne. No, she's not impressed with muscle.
Okay. So she'll meet some brilliant artist. She'll have more in common with an artist than a lawyer anyway.
Oh, I don't know. Some artists are practically inarticulate.
I won't argue the point, Counselor. I'm going back to sleep. Try it yourself.
No. Never be happy with an artist.
Go to sleep.
Too level-headed.
Good night, Jim.
Good night. Tony.
Yes, Junior? What now?
Tony, if we get married before your vacation, will you be my best man?
Mama, please promise me you'll be nice to James when he gets here.
Of course I'll be nice to him. Why shouldn't I be?
I know, but don't be too polite.
Well, now, maybe I'd better not meet him at all.
Oh, Mother.
Of course, I warn you that I mean to find out something about any man who wants to marry my daughter.
Naturally, Mama, but please be discreet.
He needn't think that because you have no father, he can pull the wool over people's eyes.
He's not trying to pull the wool over anything.
Don't tell me about lawyers, dear. After all, everybody knows that
Oh, there he is. Now, please, Mama, please keep an open mind. I'm sure you'll find James charming.
Go on and let the man in.
I can tell by the gleam in your eye, but...
All right, I'll let him in.
No, I'll get it.
Anne, your slip showing.
Oh.
Anne, darling.
Hello, James.
How could I ever have doubted?
James, no, not now. I mean, there's Mother.
Mother? Oh, of course, your mother. How is she?
Very well, thank you.
Mother, this is James. James, this is Mother.
How do you do, Mr. Wallace?
How do you do, Mrs. Caldwell? Can't tell you what a pleasure it is to meet you at last. I've looked forward to this for such a long time.
3 weeks.
Well, Anne has told me so much about you, I feel I know you.
Yes, that's very nice. Anne, dear, could I see you in the other room for just a moment?
Now, Mother?
Yes, please excuse us, Mr. Wallace. It's just a little family matter.
Oh, that's quite all right.
Mama, did you have to do that?
Close the door.
What is it, Mama?
You never told me he was so short.
Oh, Mama.
You can't trust short men. They always have chips on their shoulders.
5'7" is not really short, and besides, a man's height has got nothing to do with anything.
Your Uncle Jonathan, who ran away with the elephant girl...
I'm not staying around another second. Are you coming out there with me, or shall I go alone?
Your Uncle Jonathan was only
I'm opening the door, Mama.
But I'm just trying to take the place of your father, that's all.
Well, that little morsel of feminine business is over with. Sorry, James.
Oh, that's perfectly all right.
You know how women are, Mr. Wallace.
Oh, of course.
Are there many women in your family?
Well, not in my immediate family. I have no sisters.
Oh, then you don't know how women are.
Well, I guess I don't.
I was just wondering because you said you did.
Would anyone care for a cup of tea?
I'd love one.
What about you, Mother?
Not just now, thanks, dear.
I believe I'll join you, James.
Oh, good. Just a little milk.
There.
Thank you.
Perhaps Mr. Wallace would care for something a little stronger, dear.
Oh, no, this is fine.
Oh, come now, Mr. Wallace. Wouldn't you rather have whiskey? You don't have to stand on ceremony with me.
Really, Mrs. Caldwell,
James
I rarely...
doesn't drink whiskey, Mother. But I may start any minute. James, have one of these cookies. I think you'll like them.
Oh, they look delicious. Thank you. Well, Mrs. Caldwell, this is your first trip to New York?
Oh, my, no.
I think New York is just a bit too noisy for Mother's taste. She's a farm girl at heart.
Well, I can appreciate that. When I was a boy, I used to spend my summers in a farm in Saskatchewan. Stayed with my aunt. Never forget those days. Something wonderful about a farm, isn't there, Mrs. Caldwell?
All there is to a farm is a lot of hard work.
Yes, of course, but the kind of work that keeps you young and strong.
It killed my mother at the age of 58.
Anne, could I possibly have another cup of tea?
Oh, certainly. Mother, are you sure you don't care for anything?
No, thank you, dear. Mr. Wallace, how is it that...
How about a cookie, Mother? They're very good.
No, thank you, dear. Mr. Wallace, I understand...
Would you like me to make you a sandwich? I have some cheese.
I'm not hungry, dear. Mr. Wallace...
Excuse me, Mrs. Caldwell, but why don't you just try calling me James?
I will, Mr. Wallace. Just as soon as it feels comfortable for me to do so.
Oh, yes.
You didn't know that I had such an old-fashioned mother, did you, James?
Well, you know what they say, old-fashioned things are the best things.
Really? I never heard anyone say that.
No? Oh, I thought it was quite a well-known saying. I've heard it often. I believe I've read it, too. I can't remember just where. Anne, could I have some more tea?
Certainly.
I was about to ask, Mr. Wallace, what brought you to New York?
Well, I came here on a visit while I was at law school.
Harvard, incidentally, Mother.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. I came down on a visit, and I just fell in love with this city. I was fascinated by the idea of living in the midst of so many millions of people. Don't know whether that makes any sense.
So I know what you mean. It's a perfect city to hide in.
James wasn't... Mother, James wasn't looking for a place to hide in.
Oh, I wasn't suggesting that he was looking for a place to hide. I was just making an observation. Tell me, Mr. Wallace, I hear that New York is overloaded with lawyers. Can a young man really make a living here?
Well, I think
by living, I mean $8,000 to $12,000 a year.
Well, I tell you, Mrs. Caldwell,
Mother,
it's not...
I hate to interrupt this interesting conversation, but we've run out of tea.
Yes, well, all right, go ahead, dear, and make some more. Mr. Wallace and I have lots to talk about.
Yes.
Oh, that's the point. I need him in the kitchen to open a jar of olives.
Well, I don't like olives, thank you.
They're for James. He loves olives.
Will you excuse me, please, Mrs. Caldwell?
Oh, certainly. Andy, we need more hot water.
Hot water? I'm in it up to my hairline.
Oh, James, I've never been so embarrassed in my life. How do you feel?
So I just lost 2 falls out of 3.
I'm terribly, terribly sorry. I had no idea she'd act this way.
She'd only stop calling me Mr. Wallace.
She's never been like this before. She's really very sweet.
I'm sure she must be.
She's terribly worried because we've only known each other 3 weeks. You must try to understand.
Believe me, I'm trying. But have you any idea what it feels like to sit there and be taken apart?
Now, don't make it worse than it is, James.
Have you any idea what it feels like to be
You just
questioned?
asked that question.
Well, this is a nerve-wracking experience.
James, are you sure you aren't dramatizing it just a little bit?
I never dramatize anything.
Well, never mind. It's perfectly normal to dramatize.
I don't care whether it's normal. I don't do it.
Oh, you have a temper.
Anne, I'm sorry.
I didn't know that about you.
I wouldn't say that I had an abnormal temper.
Perhaps not. Still, you have a temper.
Anne, how long have you had this habit of repeating things?
You see how little we know each other. You see?
I'm sorry, Anne. I guess I'm upset. Anne, when are you going to answer my question? Will you marry me?
Oh, James. Mother was right. There are so many things that people must know about each other if they are to have a happy marriage.
That isn't true. If they love each other, they can work everything out.
That isn't realistic. What about the little things?
What little things? Children?
No. Suppose you're grumpy in the morning or don't like canaries or something. Do you like canaries?
No, I don't.
You see? There you are.
Why? Do you like canaries?
Of course not. But suppose I did. Just suppose I were mad about canaries and you couldn't stand them. We'd be miserable, don't you see?
Anne, come here.
No, James. This is very important. This is something we must stop and be very cool-headed about. Tomorrow evening, you and I are going to sit down and find out all the things about each other that we haven't discussed. Agreed?
Oh, Anne, why do we have to go through... Oh, all right. Agreed.
Now, James, we must have an objective and logical conversation. Is that understood?
Yes, Miss Caldwell.
You're being facetious.
No, Miss Caldwell. Just good-natured.
James, if something that's important to me is just a joke to you, then there's something seriously wrong between us.
All right, dear. Actually, I think it's important, too.
Oh, I hope you do. I really hope so. Now, I've made a list of things, and if you think of anything else, just ask.
Right. You comfortable in that chair, darling?
Please, James, there will be no affection.
Sorry. By the way, where's your mother?
She's out shopping.
More likely a police headquarters, seeing if I have a record.
James, you're being frivolous.
No, darling. Simply apprehensive.
Now, let's look at the situation dispassionately.
I'm sure we agree on everything.
Well,
I feel it.
That's what we're here to find out. Now, 1, do you sleep with a window open? Well?
Do you?
You must tell me.
Oh, I always have the window open.
You do?
Well, always. How about you?
I can't sleep if there's a draft.
You can't?
No.
Well, after all, what's a little thing like a window? We can always close...
No, James. No, don't make light of it. It's an important difference between us.
I suppose so.
It's vital to find out these things now. Now, let's go on.
That's probably the only point on which we disagree.
2, are you untidy in the home? I mean, do you drop things all over the place, or do you like to be neat at all times?
Oh, suppose I've got to be honest.
You must.
At home, I'm a pig.
Oh, dear.
But I could change so easily.
Oh, no, it's easy to say so. But we can't change our personalities.
Anne, we can compromise.
Compromises never work. Now, do you like modern furniture or period?
Well, that's easy. Period, of course. Just looking at that modern stuff makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, James! What a narrow-minded attitude to take. We must go forward, move with the times.
Forward? I've sat on stumps that had more grace
than...
than...
No. I'm sorry, but a person who prefers archaic period furniture to the clean lines of the future must be old-fashioned and stuffy.
Oh, now, listen to us.
It's no use pretending. We don't agree on anything. We'd never get along. It'd be ketchup and eggs on a bigger scale.
What was that?
Ketchup and eggs.
Oh, I like ketchup and eggs.
You see, we'd irritate each other to death, and don't say we could change. We couldn't be happy. We'd be uncomfortable. You know it.
Oh, I don't know. None of those things strikes me as critical. By the way, don't you like ketchup with eggs?
No, I don't. You see how irritating it would be to face such differences when there's no escape?
All right, Anne. You win. Let's just call it off. Perhaps you're right. If you are, we're lucky we found out about the differences in time.
We've been very sensible.
We certainly have. You know, Anne, you're a very bright girl. Very pretty one, too. Actually, what we've done is unusually intelligent.
Yes, it is.
I felt very depressed about it at first, but... Oh, I love that perfume. But now that it's over, well, it's a great relief.
Yes, I know what you mean. It was something that had to be done.
You're right, darling. Absolutely right.
No matter how painful.
Yes, and Anne, now that we've done it...
What?
Can I have an answer? Will you marry me?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes.
And so the marriage took place.
And we moved into a modern house.
With some 18th century furniture.
And closed bedroom windows. Good night, James.
Good night, darling.
This was the first episode of The Marriage, a new radio series starring Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin as Anne and James Wallace. Anne's mother was played by Muriel Bremner. Tony was played by Charles Flynn. Music was conducted by Joseph Galicchio and composed by Emil Soderstrom. The Marriage was directed by Milton Merlin and presented by the National Broadcasting Company. NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Mail call from the United States of America. servicemen and women of the United Nations. Here's Mail Call, one big package of words and music and laughter, delivered to you by the stars from whom you want to hear in answer to the request you send to Armed Forces Radio, Los Angeles, USA. This Mail Call is dedicated to the sons and daughters of the state of Kentucky, who are at the battlefronts throughout the world. And standing at the microphone now is the star the fighting Kentuckians have chosen to be their mistress of ceremonies, lovely Paulette Goddard.
Thank you, Don Wilson, and hiya, gang. You know, it's mighty sweet of you to invite me to take over the microphone to describe the running of this special Kentucky Radio Derby. And here are the entries as they're listed on the tote board. Number 1, W.C. Fields of the Mint Julep Stable. Acting very frisky, but runs best on a wet track. And number 2, that famous entry, Charlie McCarthy of the Woodpecker Stable. And Mortimer Snerd with Edgar Bergen up. Number 3, Virginia O'Brien of the Shamrock Farm, a very trim filly and in fine form. Number 4, the Harmonica Rascals with Bora Minovich in the saddle. And number 5, the King Sisters of the Harmony Stables. That's the lineup, ladies and gentlemen, and as these thoroughbreds step out onto the track, the band strikes up Kentucky.
I'll be going where the soft breeze is blowing in Kentucky. Things will be booming when I roam where there's room in old Kentucky. Kentucky, where the sky is blue, and the grass is too, and the sunniest time of welcoming smile is made to order for you. Somebody's waiting to begin celebrating in Kentucky. I'm not denying that my heart will be flying when I get to Kentucky. I declare it's heaven with all those wonders you'll know. Oh, Lord, make me lucky when I get to Kentucky. Let me stay there forevermore.
Well, boys and girls, I know you're all anxious to hear from the entries. So first, here are the King Sisters who have a slight complaint to register. It seems they want to tell the milkman to keep those bottles quiet.
Milkman, keep those bottles quiet. Can't use that jive on my milk diet. Milkman, keep those bottles quiet. I've been jumping on a swing shift all night, turning out my quota. All right, now I'm beat right down to the sod, and I've got to dig myself some nod. Milkman, keep those bottles quiet. Now the noise of the riveter, I don't mind it, 'cause the man with the whiskers has a lot behind it. But I can't keep punching with that victory crew when you're making me punch you with that bottle move. I wanna give my all if I'm gonna give it, but I gotta get some shut-eye if I'm gonna rivet. So bail out, but put that in the garage, 'cause it is unpatriotic, it's a sabotage. Mr. Milkman, won't you keep those bottles quiet? Shh, shh, shh. Been knocking out a fat tank all day. Yes, and I'm working on a bomber. Oh, okay. Boy, you blast my wig with those clings. Clink, clink. I've got to get my 40 winks. Won't you remove your load? Milkman, take it from my abode. Milkman, why did you hit the road? Milkman, shove on. It's dawn. Then give us all a real rest. Get lost with your seal test. Take your bottles and scram. Milkman.
Oh, nice going, King Sisters. And I'm sure those listening who've been awakened early in the morning, before they went to the service, of course, share in your complaint. And now, gang, meet several mouthfuls of music for Minovich and his harmonica rascals. Thanks, Borominovich, and a pat on the back to your rascals for blowing their talents our way on this occasion. I don't know just how harmonicas fit into a Kentucky program, unless it's because of their resemblance to corn on the cob. And believe me, they do some amazing things with corn squeezins in Kentucky. Anyhow, boys, you were great.
Oh, Paulette, can I see you for a minute?
Oh, Edgar Bergen. Edgar, it's nice to see you.
Well, thanks, Paulette.
I hope you didn't forget to bring Charlie. After all, you know, he's a very famous son of Kentucky.
That's right. Charles is a genuine Kentucky oak. He'll be along shortly, Paulette. Meanwhile, I'd like to have you say hello to another friend of mine, Mortimer Snerd.
Oh, Mortimer. I've heard of him. I'd love to meet him.
Yes, well, come on out, Mortimer.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Miss Goddard.
Say, hello, Mortimer. You know, I was just saying that I'd like to meet a man who's down to earth. You know, someone who's really simple.
Yeah? I guess I got what it takes, haven't I? Yeah.
Oh, Mortimer, come over here.
Oh, I'm close enough.
Well, no, you're not. Come on over. I won't bite you.
Oh, you won't, huh? I wish you would. Diggy, diggy, diggy.
Oh, no, Mortimer, don't be afraid of me. Why, I just want to hold your hand.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, please.
No.
Oh, pretty, please. Come on, hold my hand, sugar.
No, I ain't gonna do it. That's all there's to it.
Well, why not?
Why you fool around like that? I'll hate myself in the morning, That's what I'll do.
Mortimer, how can you be so stupid?
Well, I got a priority.
Oh,
Well, Mortimer, haven't you ever been out with a girl?
Well, I had a date once, I did.
Oh, where did you go?
Well, just sat on the front porch, sat in the swing, too. Boy, did we swing. Gosh.
Oh, well, what else did you do?
Well, now don't let this get around, will you?
No.
Well, you see, I looked at her, and she looked at me, see?
Yes, and then what?
Well, shucks, ain't that enough for one night? She would.
Were you looking for me? Yes, Charlie, I was looking for you. What have I done now? Well, Mr. Fields will be here any minute. You mean old W.C.? That's right. And you know what you're going to do? I'm going to take a pop at... No. No, sir, you're going to apologize to Mr. Fields for what you did.
Well, what did Charlie do, Edgar?
Tell him what you did.
Well, it was nothing, Paulette. I fractured him up a little bit.
Yes. The idea of you rigging up a skunk trap in Mr. Fields' garden and then him tripping up over it.
Yes.
Why, that sort of thing, it's skunk trap. Why, it's a menace to society.
It is?
Yes.
Since when is Fields society?
Well, never mind. There's no two ways about it, Charlie. You simply must apologize.
Well, what am I going to say to Mr. Fields? Just say, I'm sorry about catching you in my skunk trap? It was a case of mistaken identity.
No. You're not going to say that at all. No, but you must apologize.
Yeah.
Why, Charlie, it's up to you. It's up to you to hold out the olive branch to Mr. Fields.
Well, what's the use? He'll only fall over anyway.
No. Charlie, you should have respect for Mr. Fields.
Why?
Why, Mr. Fields is a very famous man.
Yeah, well, he thinks he's pretty good, too, you know. He thinks the whole world sort of revolves around him.
Yes.
And by golly, most of the time it does, too. That guy can soak up more of that stuff.
All right, please.
Just stick a wick in him.
Charlie. There will be none of that.
I doubt it.
Yes. Nevertheless, Mr. Fields deserves an apology from you.
Yes, sir.
Because, after all is said and done, he is an upright citizen.
Yes, sir. Okay. You get him upright, and I'll apologize.
Well, boys and girls, while Charlie's getting his apology straightened out, here's one of your favorite vocalists, the girl with that slick trick voice, Virginia O'Brien.
I'm going back to where I come from, where the honeysuckle smells so sweet it darn near makes you sick. I used to think my life was humdrum, but I sure have learned a lesson that is bound to stick. There ain't no use of me pretending. This city sure ain't no place for a gal like me to end in. Going back to where I come from, where the mockingbird is singing in the lilac bush. I used to go down to the station every evening just to watch the Pullman train come rolling in. And then one night, that great temptation got the best of me and drove me to a life of sin. I took my hat and But my hunting days are over, I can tell you that. I met a man in Kansas City, and he winked at me and asked me if I'd like to step around, and I said, yep, that's what I'm here for. So he said he'd take me to the hottest spots in town. He mentioned things he'd have to fix up, so he took my $14, but there must have been a mix-up. He's been gone since Thursday evening, and I got a hunch I'll see him on the road to Mandalay when I get old and gray. But when I'm old and have a grandchild, I can tell her about my romance and just watch her eyes bug out. The chances are she won't believe me, and she'll do the same darn thing when she's grown up, no doubt. But she can't say I didn't warn her. What'll happen if she meets up with that silly guy? Go darn him. Hope you're all paying attention, because I'm going to ask questions later on. I'm going back to where I come from, just to listen to the mockingbird singing in the lilac bush.
Thanks, Virginia O'Brien. That was swell.
You know, Bergen, that song gave me an idea. If Fields is coming, I'm going back to where I came from before he gets here.
Oh, no, you're not. No, you'd better stay right here, young man.
Yeah?
As a matter of fact, I think I hear Mr. Fields coming now. Oh, no. Not yet, no. You sure? Yes. Isn't that W.C. Fields right over there by the door?
Is it?
Yes, that's it.
Well, can you see him?
Well, I can't see him, but I can see his nose in the door.
His nose in the door?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's all right. It'll be another 5 minutes before he gets here.
Me, my books, and my buckle.
He's got a saw with him, Bergen. A saw. He's got a saw.
Well, hello, Bill.
Hello, Edgar. I didn't know who had the first line.
I apologize, Bill. It was really your line, but you didn't look like you were going to come through there.
I was afraid myself off the car.
Looked like you've been on that wet track, you know.
How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good, Bill. Very good.
Where is that little woodpecker's snack bar?
Oh, yeah. I want to explain about Charlie. But first, I want you to meet Paulette Goddard, Bill.
Oh, I'm charmed, lovely lady. This is a delight.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Fields, for those sweet words.
Oh, not much, then. Think nothing of it. It's a poet in me.
Well, to return
or a martini, you know.
I want to return the compliment. Believe me, it's a pleasure to welcome you, Kentucky's most famous colonel, to this mail call for the servicemen and women from Kentucky.
Wonderful state, Kentucky. Filled with nostalgia. I think that's the right way to pronounce it. Got educated fools, right? As I recall, its meadows of blue grass, its beautiful women, its blooded racehorses, and its excellent distillery. Stuff is hard to get now. Looks like I'll have to take up chemistry. that, no more of that. Now, Edgar, let's get back to Charlie.
Well, now, don't get excited, Bill. You know, I told you that I'd explain everything about this thing, you know.
Then explain why your belligerent little bundling board perpetrated an act of sabotage by stretching a wire across my garden path.
Well, the whole thing was perfectly innocent, Bill. You see, he was setting a skunk trap.
Oh, a skunk trap.
Yeah.
Thanks for the compliment. That covers everything. Nevertheless, the other evening, as I was traversing my garden in search of flora and fauna, page, don't you I was walking along when I unexpectedly tripped, and the next thing I knew, I was prostrate on terra firma, which was not unusual in itself.
Well,
the circumstances were different. I got a line there.
Yes,
Don't cheat me out of that.
You're doing so well, I've got to do something pretty soon. Yeah, I could have sent Mortimer down just as well. Yeah.
You want to read that line?
I've heard rumors that you've gone on the wagon.
The rumors, Edgar, are not all true. I'm half on the wagon.
You're half on the wagon, uh-huh. Then you drink half as much?
Yes, I've cut out the chaser.
Yeah, but once more, about this skunk trap, Bill.
Oh, you mean Flora?
No.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. I'll tell you, it was quite an experience. I broke my femur and fractured my decanter.
Is that so? You know, that sounds rather serious, Bill.
Yes, it was. I was hurried to the hospital. I took a turn for the nurse.
Yeah? You had it right the first time, huh?
These secretaries. Boy, they're pimps.
Well, were you running a fever?
No, but I had some trouble with my blood pressure.
Rather high, huh?
90 proof.
Is
But a wonderful place, that hospital. They even had mattresses on the wall.
Oh, Bergen.
Yeah, all right, Charlie. Come on in here.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Did you? Make him put that saw down.
All right, now, Charlie. Now, it's all right.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, this is like old days, isn't it, Bill? This carrying on.
Yeah. Remember how we used to fight, Mr. Fields? That was foolish, wasn't it, though?
As it was, my little friend.
Yeah.
But we're above that sort of thing now.
Yes. Oh, those were the good old days.
Yes, they were.
Remember the time I said I'd slice you into a Venetian blind?
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a Tinkadola.
Oh, it was pretty good. It wasn't too
I guess
funny.
it's old now.
Yeah.
Old.
Remember how I topped you by saying that makes me shudder? I got that one in.
Yeah, you got it in. There it goes again. You see, Edgar, it's no use.
Well, Bill, it's only the mischief in the boy that makes him say those things. You know, Charlie is his own worst enemy.
Not while I'm around.
Listen, let go of my lapel. Let go of my lapel, Bergen.
All right.
I want to hang on on him.
No, you're not going to. Now, stop this. Remember, Mr. Fields is not a well man.
No?
That's right, Edgar. I've been a fragile thing of beauty ever since I was born.
You weren't born. You were squeezed out of an old bar rag. Not
mule is an animal with long funny ears. He kicks up at anything he hears. His back is brawny and his brain is weak. He's just plain stupid with a stubborn streak. And by the way, if you hate to go to school, you may grow up to be a mule. Or would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in a jar? And be better off than you are? Or would you rather be a pig? Oink. A pig is an animal with dirt on his face. His shoes are a terrible disgrace. He's got no manners when he eats his food. He's fat and lazy and extremely rude. But if you don't care a feather or a fig, you may grow up to be a pig. Or would you like to swing on a star? Gather moonbeams in a jar and be better off than you are. Toot. Or would you rather be a you and me? A fish won't do anything but swim in a brook. He can't read or write a book. To fool the people is his only thought. And though he's slippery, he's sure to get caught. But then if that sort of life is what you wish, you may grow up to be a fish. And all the monkeys aren't in the zoo, 'cause every day you meet quite a few. So you see, it's all up to you. You could be better than you are. Honest, you could really be swinging on a star.
So many of you from the Bluegrass have written in asking that we do a salute to old Kentucky that we decided to put it right at the top of our GI slate. I'm not a native Kentuckian myself, but I've spent a lot of time in that corner of the country. There's a very soft spot in my heart for the land around Louisville and Lexington and Frankfort and out around Paducah, where the Ohio River's getting ready to flow into the Mississippi. But the Bluegrass will keep on waving, and Derby winners will keep on running for a good many years after the Axis has beat a retreat. So be of good cheer, ladies and gentlemen of Kentucky. The old state's waiting for you and wishing you good luck all along the line.
Well, that's it, gang. The end of another mail call letter. Signatures include W.C. Fields, Edgar Bergen, Charlie McCarthy, Mortimer Snerd, Virginia O'Brien, Bora Minovich, and the Harmonica Rascals, the King Sisters, and yours truly, Don Wilson. This program is arranged through the cooperation of the Hollywood Victory Committee. Another mail call will be coming your way the next time you hear... Mail call is produced by the Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is smile. S-M-I-L-E.
Really?
You bet your life!
Elgin American, creators of America's most beautiful compact, smartest cigarette cases, finest dresser sets, presents Groucho Marx in the Elgin American show, You Bet Your Life. The comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here's that sterling Elgin American, the one, the only...
You don't say. Hey, that's me, Groucho Marx. Thank you. Well, here I am again with $1,500 for one of our couples tonight. George Fenneman, who's first to try and take it away from me?
A pair of youngsters who are going steady, Groucho. They were selected for the studio audience just before we went on the air. And here they are, Anna Jung and Dave Mock meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to the Elgin American program. And if you say the secret word at any time we're talking, I'll pay you $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Your name is Anna Jung?
That's right.
Where are you from, Anna?
I was born in Canton, China.
Does your last name have any English meaning, Anna?
Not to my knowledge.
Does it have any meaning without your knowledge? What does your name mean, Dave?
Well, my Chinese name is John, which means genuine, and that's my middle name, John.
Oh. And what does Mock stand for? Title?
I don't know.
I have two in my bathroom. Sam and Irving, I call them. Oh, really? When are you two going to be married?
I don't know if we are going to get married.
We haven't talked about it.
Will the ceremony be in English or Chinese, huh?
I don't know if we are going to get married.
You're kind of stubborn, aren't you, huh? Dave, do you understand Chinese?
Oh, I speak a little of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it won't make any difference. The wedding ceremony is always Greek to the bridegroom anyway, huh? Anna, how did you meet the reluctant dragon here, huh?
Well, it was one of the dances, and he went stag, and my escort very impolitely left me with him, so I guess he was more or less stuck.
You consider that he was stuck?
What do you think?
I would say au contraire. I only wish I knew what it meant, huh? May I ask how old you are, Anna?
I'm 21.
Mm-hmm. And how old are you, Dave?
24.
Is that in years or in yen?
You don't count years by yen.
You don't, huh? Well, I've got a big yen to be 21 again. Well, I think you make a charming couple, and to prove it, we have some ideal wedding gifts for you. Fenneman, take good care of them, huh?
For Anna, this lovely engraved dresser set by Elgin American. It's finished in rich silver, the finishing touch for your dresser.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
For Dave, we have Elgin American's hand-engraved sterling silver cigarette case that holds 20 regular or 16 king-size cigarettes.
It's really nice.
Is there any difference, Anna, between Chinese wedding customs and ours?
Oh, yes, there are a few. The custom of the bride's family to give out gifts.
It's like a dowry, huh?
Oh, well, similar.
I used to think a dowry was where you got milk until I got married. Huh? I got milk plenty, huh? Are there any specific gifts that you're supposed to get? I mean, do they indicate...
Well, I don't know, but of course the gifts depend a lot upon your finances. If you have about 1,000 friends, you can't give everyone a cigarette case.
Well, I wish you'd try, because that's our racket here. Now, Dave, in China, is the groom the same miserable scapegoat he is here?
In China, he's the master of the house.
He's the master of the house in China? And why does everybody want to take a slow boat to China? Now, Dave, what bad habits are you going to give up after you're married?
I haven't talked about getting married yet.
Doesn't he have any bad habits you're going to correct, Anna?
Well, I thought if I would correct them, he has a few, like staying up too late at night and excessive smoking.
For a girl who isn't going to marry him, you said you know a lot about it. Dave, you've been shanghaied. Huh? Now, Dave, what was there about Anna that you found particularly appealing?
Well, she was intellectual. She's good company and...
She's cute.
Very good dancer.
Very good dancer. Well, I don't know what other qualifications you would want. Come home after a hard day's work and you want a big meal. Your wife is in the kitchen doing the Charleston, right? That'll certainly put you in great shape for the evening. What did you find particularly appealing about Dave?
Well, he has nice wavy hair, and he's very sweet, and I think he has a charming smile, don't you?
You just said smile. You just said smile, and that's the secret word, and that means you just won your one.
Oh, no!
There it is. Congratulations. Now, wipe that smile off your face and let's get back to business here, Now, Dave, have you given any thought to what marriage is going to be like? For example, can Anna cook your favorite dish? Anna, what is his favorite dish?
Oh, well, his favorite American steak, but I think he likes the shark fin soup a little better.
Shark skin soup?
No, shark fin.
Shark fin. That isn't a fin you got, that's 100 you Well, that sounds like a very interesting dish. How long does it take to prepare shark skin soup?
Oh. It'll take a couple of
Shark
days.
fin soup.
Approximately.
Takes one day to catch the shark, I suppose. Now, well, you're an attractive couple, and I wish you two every happiness.
Not married yet.
She's got $100. Doesn't that change your attitude? Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to work together for $1,500. You bet your life. But right now, I want you to pay attention to some interesting conversation.
Say, Mary, when did you get a raise? I didn't. What? That new compact of yours. It must have cost plenty. That's what I expected, too. It's an Elgin American, but it was only $4.95. No.
Yes. Elgin American compacts always look like a lot more than they cost. Smart as tomorrow in fashion, master craftsman engraving to the last detail. Clasps, mirrors, powder doors so flawless they rival many other compacts that cost a lot more. Packaged with the luxury of a gem. Only Elgin American's leadership, only the greatest manufacturing facilities in the industry, can bring you first in fashion compacts styled by top designers of Paris, New York, Hollywood. Compacts first in jewel-like perfection, first in value for so little money. Tomorrow, see them all, including sterling silver and 14-karat gold. Also, Elgin American's companion line of American Beauty Compacts, thriftily priced from $2.95. For yourself, for every woman on your gift list, you can't beat the greatest value of them all, exquisite, finest quality compacts by Elgin American.
Now, let's see if you two will get a chance at the $1,500 question. You're going to play You Bet Your Life. Fenneman, straighten them out on the rule.
Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions. The couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,500 question at the end of the show. Our other 2 couples are in a waiting room off stage, so they don't know what's happening out here.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. What question category did you select?
Name the state.
Name of the state, north or south, is that right? Now, here's your first question. How much will you bet?
5.
What state is immediately north of California?
Oregon.
Oregon is right.
They're on their way with $25.
Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. You're going to bet how much of the 25 this time? Remember, you're going to get married.
Not yet. 15.
All right. What state is south of Georgia? Come on. Take a stab at it. The bell is tolled. The answer is Florida.
They now have $10.
Now you've reduced to $10. Now, how much of the $10 are you going to try this time? 5? All right. Now, what state is immediately north of New Mexico?
Utah.
No, I'm sorry. The answer is Colorado.
They now have $5.
Well, now you've only got $5. All right, here's your last chance to beat the other couples. You're going to bet $5. What state is directly south of Oklahoma?
Tennessee.
No, I'm sorry. The answer is Texas. Well, apparently you two are penniless. However, it isn't a very good advertisement having you leave here broke, so I'll give you one more chance. You answer this correctly and you'll win $10. What president had the same name as Lincoln, Nebraska? What president?
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln is right. Thanks and good luck from Elgin American Compact. Stick around now. You might still get the crack at the big question. Don't forget, you grabbed $100 in cash for saying the secret word.
Groucho, our next couple has been in a waiting room off stage, so they don't know the secret word is smile. Perhaps they'll say it. Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Mrs. Joan Grant, a housewife, and Mr. Stuart Town from the State Department of Motor Vehicles. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome for Elgin American Compact, and if you say the secret word at any time we're talking, you'll get $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you will always have with you. Mrs. Grant, you're a housewife, huh?
Yes.
What does your husband do for a living, Mrs. Grant?
He's a kneeler.
He's a kneeler?
A kneeler.
What is a kneeler?
Well, he stands by a furnace and anneals metal that's in the furnace.
Does he walk around his knees at home? Or...
No, he walks around in shorts.
Well, he'd still be on his knees, you know. How did you meet your husband?
Well, he delivered my worm.
Mrs. Grant.
He
delivered your...
I read a book, and it told about this worm hobby, you know. And we lived on a lake, and we used to fish in the winter, you know, over the ice, and we always ran
fish
short.
In the winter, huh?
Anyway, I thought it'd be nice to have all the worms we needed, and then you can always sell what you have left over.
Yeah.
2 dozen per quarter. So I spent...
You ever crack any apples and get the worms out?
That isn't my kind of a worm.
Is that a different kind of a worm?
Yes, these are special.
I thought a worm was a worm. I didn't know that.
No, these are a special breed of worm, and they...
jump at a speckled bass?
Yeah, they're real wriggly. And should I tell you the rest of it?
Well, I'm drinking it in, Mrs. Grant.
So he helped me, and he got interested, and he said he'd come back and help me with them, because you have to water them twice a week and feed them, and then they have capsules, and when
the worm takes capsules?
No! They breed, and then in 3 weeks you dump that box over, and there's thousands of little capsules, and each capsule has from 1 to 20 worms in it, and then you put those in another box, and in 3 months there are thousands of little worms.
And your husband does this in shorts?
That's how we met.
That's how you met, eh?
One day he thought it would be a good idea if we start raising our own little worms. That's what he said.
And did you try to worm out of it?
It was a good offer, so I took it.
And how many little worms do you have now?
2.
And do they have capsules too? Mr. Town, eh?
Right.
Stuart Town, eh? You're from the Department of Motor Vehicles, eh?
Right.
Are you married?
Yes, sir.
How did you meet your wife? Were you wearing shorts at the time?
Well, it's quite a while back. I don't recall, but I know that
you don't remember how you met your wife?
No, I wore shorts or not.
Oh. Well, let's say you didn't wear shorts. How did you meet your wife?
Anyway.
Let's say you were wearing longies.
Oh, the summertime.
It was in the summer.
I went over to picnic, Brookside Park.
Where's that?
To Pasadena. I looked all around, and over there, one side I saw these 2 girls, and one of them was really nice. I said, well, there she is, so we'll go get her. And I spent the whole afternoon, evening dancing there. And first thing I know, we were engaged and we were married.
Well, that'll teach you to keep out of Pasadena. Just what do you do at the Department of Motor Vehicles, Mr. Town?
Well, I take the $2 fee from the people that come in for a license, and I give them a written examination, a vision test. If they get by that all right, I take them out on a road test.
Well, what kind of test questions do you ask them? Ask me some test questions, Mr. Town.
How long would you put out your arm before you want to make a boulevard stop?
Well, that depends on the length of your arm, doesn't it? One more, Mr. Town. I'm pretty good at this.
Well, supposing the fire engine coming down the road.
Yeah.
How close could you follow behind it?
I'd go right behind it. Huh?
Well, that's wrong. That's against the law.
Well, why?
You must not follow behind it.
What do you want me to do, go in front of it? Happens my garter was caught in the hook and ladder. I had to hop all the way to Long Beach. I was known as Hop-Along Groucho. Would you say you're a careful driver, Mrs. Grant?
Yes, I would.
Well, why do you think so, huh?
Well, I never drive too fast, and I always keep my eyes on the road.
It's quite a trick. Aren't you afraid you'll run over him? Well, you both passed my test with flying colors, and we have the perfect gifts for each of you from our sponsor. George.
Right, Groucho. Mrs. Grant will love Elgin American's exclusive heart-shaped compact that's definitely different. It's jeweler's bronze that looks like gold.
I think it's lovely.
George, what have you got for the Department of Motor Vehicles here?
Elgin American's popular cigarette case with today's smart leather-like look.
This is very, very lovely, and I thank you.
It's a pleasure to give it to you, Mr. Town. Now, let's get down to serious business. You're going to play You Bet Your Life, the Elgin American game, for $1,500. Run you $20 into more than our other couples, and you get the chance at the $1,500 question later. Fenneman, remind our listeners how much the first couple won.
The young couple lost all their money, so the housewife and the motor vehicle man have a clear field.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. What question category did you select?
On fruits.
Varieties of fruits. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
$10.
What variety of fruit is a Jonathan?
Apple.
An apple. All right.
Well, for this start, they have $30.
Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of your $30 will it be now?
20.
20? What variety of fruit is a Valencia?
Orange.
An orange is right.
They're really climbing, Groucho. They have $50.
You're climbing. You're up to $50. Here's your third question. How much of the 50 you're going to try?
$40.
What variety of fruit is a satsuma? A satsuma?
Plum.
A plum is correct.
Now they have $90.
How much of the 90 are you going to risk?
$70.
What variety of fruit is an anjou? A-N-J-O-U.
Pear.
A pear is correct.
And they wind up with a grand total of $160.
You wound up with $160. Thanks and good luck from Elgin American Compacts. Now, in just 1 minute, our last couple will play You Bet Your Life, and then we know who gets the $1,500 question. Right now, listen to this.
Oh, I left my lighter at the office.
Here, use mine. You'd never leave this one behind. It's a Socialite by Elgin American.
Yes, everybody goes for Elgin American's terrific new Socialite lighters. So beautifully designed and finished, they look like jewelry. And they work like magic. That's their marvelous magic action. It keeps the light going for others to use without pressure. Locks automatically for safety when closed. The most modern, surefire mechanism of any lighter made. Yet, these last words, Socialite lighters for men and women, are priced from just $4.95. Table models from $9.95. Values beyond compare. By all means, see them tomorrow at your leading store and buy the finest lighters you can use or give. Socialite lighters by Elgin American.
Now then, we'll soon know who's going to earn the most money and get the chance of the $1,500 question. George, who's leading so far?
Well, the housewife and the motor vehicle man are ahead with $160. And here's our final couple coming in from their waiting room off stage. They don't know the secret word is smile. And here they are, a girl softball player and a steam room masseur selected for the studio audience just before we went on the air. Charlotte Pioginski and Dan Hurley meet Groucho Marx.
Hello, folks, and welcome to You Bet Your Life. And if you say the secret word at any time we're talking, I'll pay you $100 instantly. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Charlotte, how do you pronounce your name?
Pioginski.
Would you mind spelling it?
P-I-E-C-H-O-C-I-N-S-K-I.
Now pronounce it again.
Pioginski.
Comes out just the same. You're a softball player, Charlotte?
Yes.
May I ask how old you are, Charlotte?
You may.
Okay, next question. How old are you?
25.
25, well, you don't look it. Are you sure you touched all the bases? What position do you play, Charlotte?
Pitcher, first base, and outfield.
Simultaneously? Are you married?
Yes, sir.
What does your husband do, Charlotte?
He's a warehouseman
How'd you meet him?
at the Palladium. I was
What were you doing at the Palladium? You rascal, you.
Went to the dance. I met him. Yes.
You went there alone?
With my girlfriend.
And did she nab somebody there, too?
Yes.
Yeah, it must be a pretty vital field, that's the lady. Mr. Haley, who are you?
I'm her partner, the masseur.
Well, stop flexing your biceps and tell me, where you from, Dan?
From Watts, California.
From where?
Watts.
This sounds like Abbott and Costello, huh? Okay, I'll buy. Who's on third? Huh? Tell me, Minute Rub, what sort of clientele do you cater to at your fat rendering establishment? Huh?
We take care of lawyers, doctors, bankers, comedians, everything.
Well, thanks for the warning. Well, you got all sorts of customers. That's a sort of a melting pot, huh?
That's right.
Suppose I staggered into your boneyard for a once-over lightly. Just what would you do to me?
Well, I'd build up your chest and put some muscle on in the right place and take off some of the back avenue points. Fix you up in general, condition you, give you massages and fix the bloodstream up and just overhaul your goods.
It may interest you to know that I have no blood. That stream dried up years ago. You ever argue with your customers, Dan?
No, sir.
How about you, Josephine DiMaggio? Do you ever have arguments playing softball?
Yes. I have arguments with the coaches and umpires.
Have you ever been chased to the showers by the umpires?
A couple of times.
Did he ever catch you?
No.
What kind of uniforms do you girls wear?
Satin.
Satin
Yes,
what?
we have blouses and long pants in the winter and shorts in the summer.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll come down some hot night and watch you play. It's quite evident that the weather has a great deal to do with how you girls shape up. You know, you've almost convinced me girls are as good as men ball players. Now, let's have a little test. Pretend you've just belted the ball over the fence for a home run. Do you slide head first or feet first?
If I hit it over the wall, I'd walk home.
But I'll remember that when I take a soft girl ball player out. Huh? Now, potholer, that's you, Mr. Hurley. As a masseur. Well, as a masseur, could you do Charlotte any good?
Oh, sure. I could slim her down in the right places.
Well, maybe she doesn't want to go to the right places. How would you like that, Charlotte?
Let him try it.
Well, I'd like to see him try it, too. As a matter of fact, I'd like to be your assistant. Well, we're happy to have you two as our guests tonight. In return, we have some lovely gifts from our sponsor.
Lovely is right, Groucho. For Charlotte, this lovely sterling silver compact with 14-karat gold engraving, and Elgin American, of course.
Beautiful.
And for Mr. Dan Hurley, this Elgin American cigarette case with a rich green leather look.
Something to show off, eh, Mr. Hurley?
Yes, sir. Nice.
All right, now let's play You Bet Your Life. If you can beat the other two couples, you'll get a track at the $1,500 question. I can't tell you how much they won, but George has gone off stage to remind our listeners.
The housewife and the motor vehicle man are ahead with $160.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. What question category did you select?
Old ballad.
Barbershop ballad?
Barbershop ballad, that's right.
Now, here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you try? 5? Jerry Fielding plays. You name the song. Play, Jerry.
And the
Strawberry Blonde is right. You're off to a great start. They have $25. How much of your 25 will you risk?
15.
15? Is that all right with you?
Right.
Which one are you?
I'm her partner, masseur.
Oh. You're going to try $15. What is the name of this ballad?
Caroline. Caroline.
Caroline. Caroline Moon?
No.
Can't you hear me calling
That's
Caroline?
right. Can't you hear me calling Caroline? They're really on their way. They have $40. Here's your third question. How much of the 40 will you try?
20.
What's the title of this song?
You tell me your dream,
You
I'll
tell me your
mine.
dream is right.
They now have $60.
Now, here's your last chance to beat the other couples. You have $60, and how much will you try?
The whole thing.
The Works? Give me the title of this song. Play, Jerry.
Sailing along, Moonlight Bay.
Moonlight Bay is on the nose.
And they wind up with a grand total of $120. And that means the housewife and the motor vehicle man with $160 get the chance at the $1,500 question. The name Elgin American means the very finest quality, designing, finish, and craftsmanship. The best value. In exquisite compacts, gorgeous simulated pearls, magnificent dresser sets, magic action lighters, wondrous lighter cases, distinguished cigarette cases, handsome military sets, fascinating musical humidors. Your favorite store has a complete assortment of the newest Elgin American styles right now. See them. And for your own proud use, for thrilling prestige gifts, always buy Elgin American. And here's the winning couple, Groucho, the housewife and the motor vehicle man.
Well, back again to try for $1,500, eh? Good luck, and I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you, so talk it over thoroughly. And please, no help from the audience. One of our great presidents was the only man to occupy the office of Secretary of State and Secretary of War at the same time. What was this president's name? What is the answer you two have decided upon?
Roosevelt.
No, I'm sorry. It's James Monroe. So that means the big question next week will be worth $2,000.
But for beating our other two couples, Groucho, they each receive the amazing new Apollo 16mm movie projector to show Hollywood sound movies and the moving pictures you take yourself.
And in addition, you receive those lovely gifts from Elgin American, and you won $160. That makes it a very profitable evening all around. Congratulations, and thanks to both of you.
The Elgin American Show, You Bet Your Life, is a John Goodell production, transcribed from Hollywood, directed by Bob Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. Remember, next week's big question pays $2,000. Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for You Bet Your Life, starring Groucho Marx, presented by the creators of America's most beautiful compacts, smartest cigarette cases, and finest dresser sets, Elgin American.
Good night, folks. Have you looked at your compact lately?
Now present George Edwards in Frankenstein. Baron Frankenstein had taken refuge on the ship Voyager, which was icebound somewhere near the North Pole. The Baron was weak and ill, and the captain and his officers did their best to restore him to health. Gradually he told them his story, and he explained to the captain of the attempts he made to create a man.
Do you feel able to tell me any more of your story now, Baron Frankenstein?
Somewhere out in those wide wastes, there is something which must be destroyed. The thought of it is driving me mad. If only I could regain my strength. If only I could continue my quest.
Please do not distress yourself. The surgeon tells me that you are making an excellent recovery. I want to hear about your great experiment.
Well, I told you how my fiancée, Elizabeth, and my friend Ernst Claval and myself, waited in the laboratory during the violent thunderstorm, while up above us, exposed to the full fury of the storm, lay the lifeless body which I had made. For a full hour, we watched, and everyone seemed to be agitated. My servant Julio crouched in a corner, and ever and anon cast fearful glances up above. At last the hour passed, and I motioned to Julio to move over towards the pulley. Ernst and Elizabeth followed me, and I said, "Come, Julio. The body has been there for a full hour now. It is time to lower it." My hands are trembling with excitement, for soon I shall know whether I have created a man.
Stop. I make one more appeal to you, Victor. Do not proceed with that experiment. When you bring that body down, I beg you to destroy it.
After experimenting on it for months and months? Oh, what you ask is too much. I also add my pleas to those of Elizabeth. Well, I must turn a deaf ear to your pleas. Help me with this pulley, Julio.
I will, my master, but I am afraid the devil stalks abroad tonight.
Ah, that is nonsense. I am a scientist. I am conducting an experiment. Now lower it gently.
The storm seems to have abated a little.
I seldom remember a worse storm. The thunder is still pealing. It is a fitting night for devil's work. This is not devil's work, Ernst. It is an achievement in the field of science. Now, roll the body off the lift. Come on. Gently, Julio. Over here. Fast hand. Close, all of you. What are you going to do? I'm going to unwrap the bandages. We'll start here.
Nothing will happen. Nothing can happen. Oh, I feel that I must pray. Please do not let this creature have life.
We should all pray. It is not too late to stay your hand, Victor. I feel sure that I am on the verge of success. I am removing the wrappings now.
Look! The storm is increasing again. It sounds almost as if the voice of the heavens is protesting.
Look at the face. It is horrible. I did not mean the face to be like that. I thought it would be beautiful. The skin is all drawn tight. It is awful. Oh. This is ghastly. There is no sign of life. Wait. I will remove the other bandages.
I have never seen such a hideous, bestial face. No creature like that could have life.
Elizabeth, what ails you?
The eyelids. I swear I saw them flutter.
The eyelids did move.
No. We must be dreaming. The horrible creature is looking at us.
No. It has closed its eyes again. Julio, darken the room. The light is too strong.
My master, let me take this hammer. Let me destroy the creature.
You heard my orders. Lower the lights.
I will obey.
Look. It is raising one arm.
It has life. My experiment has succeeded. I have created life. I am the greatest man the world has ever known. No other man has had such power. Victor, this is too horrible. Destroy it now. Destroy it now would be murder. Although this creature is terrible to look upon, it is a man. It has life. It has feelings just as you and I.
Can it speak?
Not yet. It must learn to speak, just as we had to learn.
That awful noise.
What are you going to do, Victor? I was prepared for the success of this experiment, so there is a room all in readiness for my creation. Unlock the door of that room, Julio.
I am afraid. Let me destroy this creature.
Come, Julio. You help me to create this man.
It is not a man. It is a monster.
It is moving. It is struggling into a sitting position. Have you unlocked the door of the room, Julio?
I have, my master.
Then help me. We will move the creature into its abode. We will lock it in there. It will be your charge until tomorrow, Julio. Remain here in the laboratory. Remain just outside the door. Do not enter the room yourself, and do not let anyone else enter.
I will obey.
Oh, this is my creation. A man which I made with my own hands.
The creature seems to be able to focus its eyes now. It is looking straight at me. Oh, it looks awful.
I shall train it myself. Come, take the other arm, Ernst. Let us help it to walk across the room.
No, I cannot touch it. There is much I would do for you, Victor, but I cannot touch that monster.
I feel that I am going mad.
There is no need to be afraid. The creature is helpless. It can barely walk. You help me, Julio. Take the other arm.
No, do not make me touch it.
Do as I say. Look, I have taken one arm. Now, help it off the bench. Take it across the room. Carefully. It can barely drag one leg after the other.
I have never seen anything so horrible.
I admit I am disappointed in the appearance of my creation. It seems that in gaining life, the skin has become stretched tight, and the features have coarsened. Still, the creature has life, and that's the main thing. Now we will place it in this room. Careful, Julio. Now, help me get it on the bed.
The bed is not big enough. The creature seems to have become taller and bigger.
That is the extraordinary thing. Probably caused by the electricity.
Leave it on the bed. Now come outside. I will lock the door. You take the key and keep it, Julio.
I am glad the door is locked. I feel safer now.
I feel a strange and almost overpowering sense of triumph. In my wildest dream, I had not hoped for success. And I...
Victor?
He has fainted. No. I felt strangely weak. Help me to get out of here. Let me go to my room.
Baron Frankenstein, your story seems extraordinary. What became of the dreadful monster which you created?
I felt weak and ill that night, and Elizabeth and Ernst helped me to my room. There, I fell into a deep and troubled slumber. I awakened in the morning to find both Ernst and Elizabeth standing by the side of my bed. As soon as I saw them... Ernst? Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
We were worried about you.
Oh, I remember now. My great experiment was a success. I must go to the laboratory at once.
Victor, I beg you to destroy that creature. Just as you gave it life, so you can take that life away. I know that you will never be happy while the creature lives, and I know that I can never be happy. For the sake of the love you bear me, for the sake of the happiness which we desire, I beg you to destroy the creature.
Elizabeth is right, Victor. Your experiment was not altogether a success. You hoped to make something beautiful, and the result has been a hideous monster, a monster which you cannot unleash upon the world, or it will be forever upon your conscience.
Perhaps you are right.
I know we are right. Please, Victor, if you love me, you will do what I ask.
Well, I will dress at once, and then I will go over to the laboratory and make arrangements to do away with the monster. You shall come with me.
I will not go.
I will go with you, Victor. Good. Then if you wait for me downstairs, I will join you.
It seems that you regretted your somewhat rash experiment, Baron Frankenstein.
I did, Captain Barton. And I feel happier when I had made up my mind to destroy my creation. I dressed hastily and went downstairs, where I found Ernst waiting for me. We walked across to the laboratory and entered the room, and then I called for Julio. Julio!
It is strange that he does not answer.
I ordered him not to leave here.
Look, the door of the room where you put the creature.
There is no door there.
It is wrenched off its hinges.
What could have happened? Look, there in the corner. What is it?
Let me see. Why, it is the broken body of Julio.
The broken body of Julio?
Yes, look for yourself.
Oh. This is horrible. Let me look in that room. Is there anyone there? The room is empty. I am too late. The monster has escaped, and in so doing, he has murdered my servant. I have unleashed a horror upon the world. I can speak no more of the matter at present, Captain Morton. The memory of that horror is still too vivid. I beg of you, let me rest now.
I will let you rest, Baron Frankenstein.
I feel that I have not the right to sleep. I should not rest. But I must regain my strength.
Try and sleep now. I will send the ship's surgeon to you. And tomorrow I will come and speak with you again.
Good evening, friends of the creaking door. This is your host to welcome you once again into the inner sanctum. Come on in for the crime of your life and meet one of the illustrious inmates from our Who's Who. This cadaverous cut-up is Mr. Seymour Blade. His wife had a tiff with him and punctuated it with a kitchen knife through the middle, which is, of course, one way of making your point sting. All right, then, lend a fear now to some grim happenings and hear what kind of profits our star Boris Karloff in the role of Mark Devers reaped when he put up Death for Sale. The ashtray in the reception room is stuffed with half-smoked cigarettes. The disheveled man waiting paces his caged animal steps this way and that. Each second his eyes dart to the door at the end of the room at the slightest sound. At last, the knob turns. The door swings wide open.
Well, Doctor? Well, your wife is in pretty bad shape.
Cora is my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought... Forget it. Bad shape. But she's going to pull out of it. Right?
Mr. Devers...
She's not going to pull out of it?
Well, it doesn't look as if she will.
What?
There's a chance. Only a very small one, but still a chance.
You're lying. She's going to pull out of it. She's got to.
We're doing everything we can.
Look, even if she has to die, you could pull her out of it for an hour, couldn't you? Just an hour so that she could sign something.
Mr. Devers.
It means everything to me, Doc. You could give her a shot or something, couldn't you?
Good day, Mr. Devers.
I'll give you $5,000.
Good
$10,000, Doc, and you fool, you don't understand. You've got to do this for me. You've got to. The doctor doesn't understand. He'd do the same in my case. So would you. So would anybody. $50,000. I was 1 hour away from $50,000. Money that belongs to me. My money that I waited 7 long years for, and I won't be cheated out of it. 7 long years. It all seemed so simple then, so sure. We had a perfect plan for $50,000, and nothing was going to keep us from it, and nothing did. Up to 3 weeks ago. That was when Cora called me at the office. I just thought she was imagining things again as she had right along. I told her so, but she said no. This man was watching her night and day.
He is, Mark. He's outside the house right now.
Oh, come now, Cora.
I tell you he is.
Oh, you're just imagining things again. Why don't you try to...
I'm not imagining anything. He's right outside the house across the street, and I'm...
You'll be positive after 7 years?
I know I've been wrong before, but this time I'm sure Elliot's come back and...
What?
The doorbell just rang.
Who is it? Evelyn?
I suppose so. We're supposed to go to the movies together.
Good idea. Take your mind off believing everyone you see is Elliot Starnes.
You're not coming home, then?
Not till I've finished at the office.
All right, Mark. Suit yourself.
Goodbye, darling. Give my best to Evelyn.
Mark? Oh, all right, I'm coming. I was on the phone, Evelyn.
Aren't you going to ask me in? Oh, of course. After all these years, you've probably forgotten who I am. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Elliot Starnes, your beloved husband.
Elliot, you're supposed to be...
Dead? Yes, I know I'm supposed to be, Cora, but as you can see, I'm very much alive.
I knew it was you this time. I know it.
I think you better ask me in, don't you? After all, it isn't very often that a husband comes back from the dead.
Back from the dead. That's what he was, all right. And when Cora called me this time, I didn't say I couldn't leave the office.
Yes.
All right, Cora, pull yourself together.
But, Mark, you don't understand.
Oh, yes, I do. You've been scared for the last 7 years, and you're going to go on being scared for the rest of your life.
He wants $5,000 more to disappear again.
Well, I didn't expect him to come back just to say hello. Of course he wants more money.
What are we going to do? He knows that we collect that $50,000 insurance money 3 weeks from now. He says if we don't come through with his 5, he'll go straight to the insurance company and
don't be a fool. He's in this thing as much as we are. He won't do anything to spoil his chances. All he wants is money.
The longer he's around, the more chance we take that somebody might recognize him. Mark, we can go to jail.
We've waited a long time to get our hands on this money, and I don't expect to be cheated out of it now.
You're going to give him the $5,000.
I don't know. Maybe.
But
nothing. When did he say he's coming back?
Tonight. After midnight.
All right. I'll be here. We'll handle Elliot once and for all, and after this time, there won't be any coming back. I guess no matter how carefully you plan, there's always that one small thing you fail somehow to cover. 7 years before, I was sure we'd covered everything. And it was clever. Really clever. The law says that if a body isn't recovered after 7 years' time, a man is declared legally dead. So we found us a body, Cora and I did. We found Elliot Starnes and sold him on death for $5,000.
Sure, I'll do it. I'll marry Cora and then disappear. For $5,000, you can sell me on anything.
He married Cora, and a little while after the policy was issued, his automobile was found at the bottom of Ridgely's Pond. Oh, the police dragged the water for days, but naturally didn't find the body, and the insurance people exercised their right to withhold payment till Elliot was declared legally dead.
I understand, gentlemen. And I don't even care about the money. All I care about is that my poor husband is dead.
It was clever, all right, and Cora put on a good act. We knew we'd cash in where others had failed because we weren't anxious. We were willing to wait for 7 years. And wait we did. It was a perfect plan. Nothing was going to keep us from it. Nothing except... Now, Elliot had come back. He swore he'd never return, and he'd gone back on his word. But by midnight, I'd made up my mind how to handle Elliot.
No, Mark.
The only way.
No.
The only way. This 5 that he wants, that's only the beginning. He'll hold us up all his life.
No.
He'll drain us dry of every cent of that $50,000.
I won't let you do it.
Yes, you will. We're in this far. You won't back down now.
I've got to. I never dreamed it would turn out like this.
Another few weeks and he'll be legally dead.
There must be another way.
Only this, believe me. And after it's done, it'll be you and me and nobody the wiser. Go on. Open the door for him.
Mark.
Cora, do what I say.
I can't.
You've got to.
All right.
I'll be inside. Tell him everything is set.
I will.
Hello, Cora. Oh, won't you come in, Elliot? Thank you, my dear. Don't mind if I do. Mark here yet, Cora?
Yes. He's in the living room.
Oh, fine. Then you and Mark have agreed on the deal for me.
Yes, we have. Come in, Elliot. Everything's set.
So Mark is waiting for Elliot in the, you'll pardon the expression, living room. Whatever happens to Elliot actually serves him right. After all, here in the sanctum, we don't go for live people walking around as if they were ghosts. It's enough to scare the death out of us. Poor Cora's so nervous. She just can't look a corpus delicti in the prima facie. Well, enough grave philosophy. Suppose we let our star, Boris Karloff, take up our stock story where we left off.
Everything was said. I planned to kill Elliot with the knife I held behind me, and I felt absolutely no compunction about it.
Oh, you're joking.
No, Elliot.
You're crazy. Cora, stop him. You'll never get away with it. Mark, no!
I buried him in the back of the house. I say I did, because Cora wasn't much use to anyone that night or for several days afterwards. She got over it, as I knew she would. She got over it when she realized that I was right, that we had gotten away from it. And no one could ever know, and no one would miss him. She got over it when I reminded her that in just one more week, we'd be sharing that $50,000.
Just 1 week.
That's right, Cora.
I've been a lot of trouble to you these past few days. I am sorry.
Oh, forget it. It's all over.
Yes, it is. I'll feel a lot better when the money's actually ours. Somehow, way in the back of my mind, I feel that maybe we won't...
Look, darling, it's as good as ours now. There's nothing left in the way, not a single thing.
1 week.
That's all. Now, wouldn't you know? You expecting anyone?
No,
Evelyn?
not at this hour.
Well, whoever it is, get rid of him.
Yes, darling. I'll get rid of him. Yes?
Mrs. Stein?
Yes?
Mrs. Elliot Stein?
That's right.
I want to talk to you. Here's my card.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm busy right now.
Too busy to see me. I can promise you that.
Oh, now, see here.
Nice card, ain't it? Real fancy engraving. Mrs. Elliot Stein. That's right. I'm the woman Elliot married after he disappeared 7 years ago. Now, I don't think you're going to be too busy to see me after all. Do you?
Maybe it's fate. Maybe it's all in the cards. You work hard. You think out a plan that's letter perfect. Then up pops the unexpected, forcing you into the first desperate step to lick it. First Elliot Starnes himself, then his second wife that we didn't know existed.
And here's our wedding license, just in case you don't believe me. Here, you can look at it.
Take it easy, Cora. We believe you're his wife, Mrs. Starnes.
And he's got a birthmark?
We said we believe you. Now, what do you want?
Well, what does any good woman want? My husband.
And why come here?
Where else would I go?
I'm afraid we don't understand. Do we, Cora?
No. I'm afraid you do.
Now, look here.
I'm afraid you understand awful well. Elliot told me.
Told you what?
What you two were doing. He also told me if he should fail to come home after a couple of days...
Mrs. Starnes, we haven't seen your husband for 7 years.
Now, you don't expect me to believe that, do you?
I don't see why not.
I do. You see, Mr. Devers, the other day, with my own eyes, I seen Elliot walk into this house. But I didn't see him walk out again. What's the matter, Mr. Devers? You got nothing to say?
What do you want, Mrs. Starnes?
My husband, of course. Only since you killed him, I can't very well have that, can I?
What?
He's the only man I ever loved, and you killed him. I never should have let him come here. For days I begged him not to.
Mrs. Starnes.
I made a mistake letting him come here. I know that now. But I want him back. I love him and I want Elliot back.
Do you want your husband, Mrs. Starnes? Or a substantial sum of money?
Huh?
How much?
How can you talk about money at a time like this?
5,000?
I loved my husband, Mr. Deaver.
7,500? Well, how much?
25,000.
What?
In cash.
Mark.
Let me handle this, Cora. And if we refuse?
Well, then I'll just naturally have to tell my story to the police.
Cora.
But you... Oh, let's drop all the small talk, Mr. Devers. I want 25,000 and I want it fast. Now make up your mind.
I'll make up my mind.
No, Mr. Devers, don't get rough. I'm not as dumb as my ex-husband. I've taken steps against anything happening to me.
No, Mark.
Better listen to her.
You're not getting away with this.
Then you don't get away with Elliot's murder.
So help me.
Before you put that hand on me, you better have your lady friend look out that window.
What?
There's a taxi across the street, Mark.
My taxi. And the driver knows I'm in here. You'd have to kill him, too. Elliot's ever-loving second wife is here to stay. And if you want to get her out of your life, the cost is going to be $25,000. By this time tomorrow night.
After she left, I had some work to do on Cora.
It won't be the same way, Mark. Not another murder.
Who said anything like that?
Promise me. Not the same way.
Sure, promise. After all, if we can get away with 25,000, is that so bad?
I'd rather settle for none of it.
Huh?
That money won't do us any good now.
Why not?
It just won't.
Oh, you're all upset. You'll feel differently day after tomorrow when you sign those papers in the insurance office and they hand that fat check over to you.
No, Mark. I'll never feel differently about it again.
I knew I couldn't work Cora my way much longer. But it was just 2 more days. 2 more days to get that 50,000. Just 2 things to settle in just 2 days. First, there was Mrs. Starr. When she came to my apartment the next night, I handed the envelope over to her.
It's all here?
You can open the envelope and count it if you like.
I don't have to, do I?
And what if I cheated you?
You wouldn't. I could always come back.
You could always come back for more anyway.
What do you think I am?
Doesn't make any difference now what I think.
Okay. No hard feelings.
There are, but they won't bother me for long.
Of course not. That money you're collecting will cure that.
I'll be cured before then.
That's your business.
It's yours, too, now.
I don't see how.
Now, do you see?
Put that knife down.
I will. Into you.
No. Don't. Please.
That door's locked. You can't get out.
Don't. You can have the money back.
There isn't any money in that envelope.
Huh?
Just strips of newspaper. Where can I get $25,000?
I don't care about the money.
I do. I cared about it for 7 years. Cared enough to murder once, and I can do it again. Now, Mrs. Starnes, I've no hard feelings towards you. None at all. Just 2 things to take care of in just 2 days. The first, Mrs. Starnes was taken care of, and the second was now just an hour away. The 50,000 was waiting in the insurance office for Cora. All she had to do was sign her name on some papers to get it. Oh, you can imagine how relieved I was as I sat next to Cora when she drove to the insurance office. But it was different with Cora. Cora didn't say a word.
There's nothing left to say, Mark.
Oh, money will make you talk, Cora. You wait and see. After you get your hands on the... Hey, you're taking the wrong street.
No, Mark.
Sure you are. This is the way.
It's the only way left for us, Mark.
Huh?
We're driving straight out of town. We're never coming back. There'll be no more murders.
Cora.
I know you killed that woman.
Now, where did you ever get that idea? I paid her and she left.
I was outside your apartment house last night.
All right. So you know now. What did you expect? I couldn't let it all go down the drain, not after 7 years? Turn the car around.
No.
You're going to sign those papers. I want that money.
It's too late, Bart.
Like fun it is.
Let go.
You're turning this car around.
Bart, the wheel, let go.
I wasn't even scratched in the crash. Cora wasn't that lucky. I rushed her here to the hospital. And you heard what the doctor said.
There's a chance. Only a small one, but still a chance.
No, the doctor doesn't understand. There's got to be more than only one small chance. I was 1 hour away from that $50,000. Money that belongs to me, money that I've waited 7 years for, and I won't be cheated out of it. Cora's got to live. She's got to sign those papers. Well, Doctor?
There's someone waiting for you down the corridor, Mr. Devers.
What about Cora? There's still a chance, isn't there?
No chance at all anymore.
You're lying.
The gentleman is waiting.
You're lying. She's not dead. She can't be.
The gentleman is from the police. She asked me to call.
It's a lie. She's not dead.
Mr. Devers, try to understand. She is...
No! It's not true, and I won't listen to you. She's got to sign those papers. You've only got to keep her alive another hour. You're a doctor. You can do that.
Mr. Devers, please.
7 years. Don't you understand? Oh, I can't let 7 years go down the drain. 7 years. It can't turn out that way. No. She's not dead.
So Mark's 50,000 went down the drain after all. And Mark went down the hatch of a scaffold. You know, I can't feel sorry for Mrs. Starnes. She should have known that a rolling widow gathers only mausoleums. Yes, sir, when you use a dead husband for blackmail, you're bound to end up face down. Oh, a footnote. When you're dealing with life insurance, remember, honesty is the best policy. Well, friends, it's time once again to close that creaking door. Until next week at the same time, when we'll be back with a little hunk of horror. You'll be sure to listen, won't you? Until next week, then. Good night. Pleasant dreams.
Inner Sanctum has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
To the men, living and dead, who did these things, we dedicate this program, The Dam Busters, presented by the author himself, Paul Brickhill, dramatized by Morris West, an Australasian radio production.
Good evening. This is Paul Brickhill. The third raid on the Antayor Viaduct had ended again in failure, and Cheshire, most reluctantly, was forced to order his squadron home. But they weren't all heading back. During a gallant attempt to dive P for Popsy into the ravine and mark the target, Mickey Martin ran into trouble. A shell smashed through the nose of his aircraft and exploded in the ammunition trays under the front turret. The damage was tremendous, but miraculously the machine was still flying, although Martin had little control over her.
She's flying like a ruddy bat, Mick. You're telling me, Whit. Hey, Stoddy, see if you can do something about those bombs. If we could get rid of them, we'd have a better chance.
Navigator to Captain, your course will be 093 magnetic. 093 magnetic in 10 seconds from now.
I've got it, boy. 093 magnetic. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Coming round. Come round, you crazy kite. She won't take too much of that, Mickey. She'll rattle to pieces. Yeah, I know.
Navigator here, Skipper. I've had a look at those bombs. The fusing circuit's bashed in, so they must still be fused. We can't unfuse them. If you can get high enough, I might be able to prod the grips through the floor with a ruler.
I hear you, Navigator. If we're going to get rid of the big bloke, we'll need more height. Otherwise, he'll blow us out of the air.
What's our altitude now?
2,000.
You'll need 4 for any sort of safety.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'll go back and investigate while you see what you can do.
Okay, Stott boy. Do the best you can.
Hello, Skipper. This is Wobby here.
Yes, Wobby, what is it?
We're in luck, Skipper. I've just made contact with North Corsica. Ajaccio.
Who's there?
Some of our boys. Advanced fighter unit. The airfield and the flare path are serviceable. They're expecting us.
Thanks, Wobby. Only hope we can make it. You know, this thing feels like a blasted tank.
Navigator here, Skipper. I've just been taking a look at Bob Hay. His body's quite warm. I think he's still alive.
Okay, I'll send Whit down to take a look. Can you make it all right, Whit?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, Mick. Just hang on. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. Captain to wireless operator. Get on to our friends in Corsica. Tell them we have a casualty. Bad head and chest wounds. Tell them to have a doctor standing by.
Okay, Skipper. I'll do that. I'll be along.
It's good to see you, Cheshire.
It's nice of you to come down, sir.
Well, how did it go?
No good. We, did land one bomb on the ruddy target.
Uh-huh. Well, how close did you get?
Within 5 or 10 yards. Do you know what a railway viaduct is? There's lots of free air with a few pillars and spans. I'm sorry, sir. Damn thing has a hoodoo on it.
Well, what did you try? Low level?
Low level. But the flak was the heaviest we've seen for quite a while. I'm afraid Martin was badly cut about.
Was he? Is he back yet?
No, sir. When I left, he was heading south in search of friendly land. 2 engines were gone, his crew were hit.
I hope to God he's all right. I'd hate to think of Martin going.
Yes, he takes you that way, doesn't he, sir?
Yes. Yes, he does. When he gets back, if he gets back, I want you to bring him down to headquarters with you.
Yes, sir. What for?
I'm going to grunt him. This is his last operation.
Okay, Whit, back you come.
Wappy to Captain. Wappy to Captain. I've just talked to a judge here. They've got a doctor there, they say, but unfortunately hasn't any facilities to handle a bad head wound. But they say if the kite will hold together, we ought to make for Cagliari. That's in South Sardinia. There's an American bomber base at Elmer's Field there. They've got everything.
Yeah. They've got everything in New York, too. Just how far is this, Elmer's Field?
They say it's 150 miles further on.
150 miles? Hell, what a party this turned out to be. Okay. Give me a new course, Navigator.
Boys, I'll lay it. I hope you don't have any more casualties.
Have you taken a look at your own aircraft?
Yes, I have, sir. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? The awkward part is that it's McCarthy's, not mine. He won't be very happy when he gets back from leave.
I notice you're not making any protests about Martin being grounded.
Well, he's a good man, sir, if that's what you mean. Backbone of the squadron, if it comes to that. I've seen him do things that I couldn't look at. He's had enough, more than enough.
You mean he's cracking up?
Oh, definitely not. He'll fly as long as you or I want him to, but... Well, I don't think we have any right to ask any more of him.
As a matter of curiosity, how does he compare with Gibson?
I've never actually flown with Gibson, sir, but... I'd rate him even higher, I think. There's a sort of genius about him, a genius for the calculated risk. Where are you going to put him, sir?
At headquarters, where I can keep my eye on him.
You'll be busy doing that, sir.
Oh, do you think I can make an administrator out of him?
Martin can do anything he wants. He's that sort of man.
Yes, I see. I hope he's able to do it this time. I'll have to leave you shortly. Ring me as soon as you've had any word.
Yes, I'll do that, sir. But I think it'll be a long time, yeah?
I must be carrying a load of this stuff. You better take it down, Mick. Well, I can take her down, but I can't guarantee we'll get her up again. Captain to crew, we're going down, boys. See if we can shake off some of this damned ice. Hang on to your hats. That was sticky while it lasted. Sticky's not the word for it. Anyway, we're out of it now, Skipper. The ice is chipping off. How are you getting on with those bombs back there, Stoddy?
I can get the big fella loose, all right. But you can't let go at this height, Skipper.
Okay, boy. Now I'll try to get some height again. That's the best I can do, boy. 3,200. What do you think?
Work it out for yourself, Skipper. Shock waves travel at 11,000 feet a second. If the delayed fuses have had it, we've only got 3,000 feet between us and the deck.
Well, we can't land with it. I think we better give a go at dropping her.
Okay, Skipper. Give me the word. Hang on to your hats, chaps. You're in for a bumpy ride.
Martin's decision to drop the 4,000-pound bomb from little more than 3,000 feet was dangerous. He knew what was liable to happen to his aeroplane when the bomb exploded, but he also knew what would certainly happen if they tried to land with a bomb still on board. The crew held their breath as Stott went back to the winch slits in the floor and probed.
Clips loose, Skipper. It won't be long now.
Okay, Stoddy. Captain to crew, we're going to ditch the big fella in a minute. We're dangerously low and we can't miss the shockwave. I'll count for you when she goes. Brace yourselves.
Nearly got it, Skipper. Nearly. Bomb gone.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Brace yourself. Hang on to it, Mick, hang on! That damn near wrenched into a spin. She's right now, I think. Everybody okay?
Yes, okay, Skipper.
Oh, that's one problem over anyway.
Not all of it, Skipper. There's still 1,000-pounder left. I can't get it loose at all.
I'll keep trying.
Wireless operator to Captain. I've been talking to Elmas Field again. They say the best way to come in is over the mountains in the center of the island.
Did they mention how high the mountains were?
8,000 feet, Skipper.
8,000? Look, ask them if there's any other way in. Tell them we're flying a 5-ton truck, not an aircraft.
Hey, listen, Mick. There must be another way in. Look, when we hit the coast, slide down and see if we can come in crossways.
Yeah, but what's this ruddy field like? I've never even heard of it.
Neither have I. According to the map, it's down here on this neck of the land. Doesn't look very wide, though.
Well, let's not dream up any more troubles, Whit. How are you going with that bomb, boy?
Not so good, Skipper. Not so good. I can't get it to budge.
We'll keep trying. I don't like the sound of this at all, Whit. That bomb's fused and we can't unfuse it. If we make a belly landing, we'll all go up in smoke.
I think we'll get the undercarriage down all right, Mick. We've still got the emergency gas bottle. Yeah, the tires may be punctured, though, and the undercart may collapse. Still, we'll just have to wait and see. Hello, we're nearly home. Look, there's Sardinia now. Away there to port.
Yeah, I get it. Now let's see if we've got any more troubles.
Elmer's field say they're waiting for us, Skipper. The flare part's working.
Okay. Tell them to have fire trucks and an ambulance stand by. Any luck with that bomb, Stoddy? Stoddy!
Not a hope, Skipper. Not a hope in hell.
Happy days, chaps. Happy days.
There's the flare path now, Mick.
Yeah, I see it. I'm going down to take a look. Did you see it, Whit? Did you see it? If we overshoot at all, we go right over the cliffs on the other side.
Yeah, I saw it. We're doubtful about the undercart, and we're damn sure we haven't got any brakes. But we've got 1,000-pounder in the bomb rack. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Captain of crew. Listen, chaps, there's no overshoot on the runway. I haven't got any brakes, but I'm going to chance it. Watch yourselves when we come in.
We're with you, Skipper.
Good luck. Here we go, boys. Here we go.
You made it, Mick, you made it. Oh, I'll never say another word about your ruddy landings as long as I live.
Well, it was good while it lasted. Oh, hello, Doctor. How's Bob Hay?
Your buddy? I'm sorry, he's dead. Would have happened as soon as he was hit.
But I thought it... I mean, his body was warm.
Yeah, could be. But it didn't mean anything.
I see.
Well, now, let's take a look at you.
Huh? Oh, it's my leg.
Oh, brother, you telling me? Here, let's get that boot off. Oh, sorry, son.
What does it look like?
Oh, a beautiful mess. You're a lucky guy. Another hour or two and you'd have had gangrene. You'd have lost your leg.
But we made it, didn't we, Doc? Mickey Martin made it. Trust Mickey Martin. He always makes it.
Seems odd to be doing this trip by car. What does the AOC want to see me about?
Well, I imagine he'll want to tell you that himself, Mick.
Oh, well. Nice weather for a drive.
How's Whitaker?
He'll be all right in time. I had to leave him with the Yanks. His leg was in quite a mess.
And Bob Hay?
We buried him at Elmas Field. Full military honors. The Yanks did it very well. I had some photographs taken and sent to his people.
That's good thought, Mick. They'll appreciate that.
You're very odd today, Skipper. Something eating you?
Oh, it's that ruddy viaduct. It's beaten us 3 times.
Yeah, but well, it's not a matter of science. It's just a matter of sheer luck. Actually, the boys' bombing was wonderful. 5 and 10 yard margin, but on a target like that, nothing short of a direct hit's any good.
Well, I didn't quite mean that, Mick. I was thinking of myself.
What do you mean? You had 3 or 4 runs, didn't you?
Yes, I did. On the last one, I decided suddenly that it was hopeless, and I pulled out of it.
Well, what's wrong with that? You'd have only lost a kite full of men for no good purpose.
Well, I know that, Mick. That's what I thought at the time. At least I like to think I thought that way. No, I'm not quite sure.
What do you mean you're not quite sure?
Well, I'm not quite sure whether I was scared.
So that's the score, is it? Now listen to me. If you aren't thinking like that in this game, you'll drive yourself nuts. Nobody in Bomber Command's got a record like yours. Nobody's got so much guts. That sort of doubt or fear, whatever you like to call it, well, it's common to everyone. It's an occupational disease.
It's nice of you to say so, Mick, but I'd still like to know.
It's one of the things you'll never know. Forget it, Skipper. Personally, I'd like to know what Cochrane's got in his mind at this moment.
I'm sorry, Martin. That's the end of it. You're grounded.
But why, sir? Why?
This list is the tally of your operations, Martin. It's a very long one, you know. I'm afraid it's too long. The Air Force considers that you've done enough.
Oh, no, but look here, sir. I mean to say, that stuff doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't it?
No, sir, it doesn't. It's a man's physical condition that makes the difference. You put me up in front of a medical board, sir. I'll guarantee they pass me A1.
Yes. And if they didn't, I've no doubt that you'd talk them into it.
You mean there's no hope at all, sir? I get it. But look here. If I took some leave, perhaps.
No, Mick. I'm afraid there's no hope. I'm transferring you out of 617.
Out of 617? But where to, sir?
Here. Headquarters.
On. But look, sir, I just don't fit a desk job. I haven't the figure for it, for one thing.
Yes, I'm sorry, but it's no go. Now, you take some leave, and I'll see you here in 3 weeks. Well, that's all for now. Good day.
Yes, sir. Good day, sir.
Oh, by the way, Martin.
Yes, sir?
I'd like to say thanks, Martin. Thanks for a wonderful job.
Wasn't anything, sir. Good day.
Well, Mick?
It's no go, Skipper. I tried to talk him out of it, but he wouldn't listen. I'm grounded and posted to headquarters.
Mick, I'd like to say I'm sorry, but I can't. Well, I'd like to hold you, know that, but well, you've done more than your share, and well, if you go on like this, you'll get the chop sooner or later, probably sooner. I want that.
I'll tell you something, Skipper. I'll lay some money with you.
What's the bet?
Cochrane sending me on leave and then posting me to headquarters to a desk job. I'll lay you £10 to 1 that I'm back on operations within a month.
Thanks very much for joining us tonight. We hope you'll join us again on 17 May 2024. Until then, sleep tight. This is a production of Lobato Studios, Sao Paulo, Brazil.